That hurt.
I'm tuned in like crazy, and I'm pretending like I know what they're doing, and I'm,
Be articulate and intelligent.
Gregg's a bitch. That's all.
I find them offensive as hell.
I've never been a fan.
Yeah, fuck that one.
Ooh, terrible! Bad! Not bad! Oh, pretty good. Okay, decent, fair, great, I loved it!
This sucks.
Yeah, you really gotta wonder how the stuff gets made.
Welcome to the Straight Red Card. We are back for the Monday. I don't know what you want to call it. Session? Is this a session? I don't know.
It's our session. It's our therapy session. We're gonna unload everything off our chests, and you guys are gonna be there to take it all in.
Yeah, and we are your barbigorous friends. Do you know what that means, Brett? Barbigorous?
No,
It means we're bearded.
Oh.
It's a rarely used
Do you
word.
have a toilet paper that you just pull random words from? Like, you know how you have the toilet paper that can have like the word of the day on it?
Yeah, it is the word of the week at work. So we have three guys that work there with beards, and I used that word on them today. Hey, my barbigorous friend, and they're like,
What did you just say, motherfucker?
Would you call me motherfucker? I'm like, no, dude, we're bearded.
Whoa!
We're bearded buddies. Yeah, that's what I was trying to tell them.
Hmm.
Anyhow, that was one of the words of the day. The word of the week last week was winkler. Winkler. So, yeah, let me explain that. It's a real word. It's never used anymore. But there was, back in the day in France, for instance, people would go periwinkling, or they would be fishing for periwinkles. That's another word for snails. Okay. People who eat snails, like the French, escargot, right?
Yes, escargot, yeah.
And the thing about fishing for periwinkles is that it takes time. You only get small, tiny batches at a time. It's a lot of work because they're not like a colony of them living together, right? So what that word came to mean, winkler, is somebody who gets something done, but gets it done small parts at a time, right? Small little jerks at a time, or whatever on the rod or the basket. So, yeah. So if we're
deeper into that metaphor right there.
So if you're a winkler, you're somebody who gets something done, but you do it in small little parts. It takes a while to get done.
I do it all at once because I procrastinate to the very last moment.
Some might call some sexual acts winkleresque, because it doesn't all happen at once. It's a lot of different actions, and it leads to a crescendo.
Sort of like when you got to sit on your hand for like 30 minutes so it goes numb, so when you jerk off it feels like somebody else is doing it.
Something like that. But yeah, it happens in small, like you move from aroused to stimulated to, the heights of whatever you're going for. Those are stages, and in a sense that's sort of the Winkler effect as well. So, but if it's your wife, you could call her a winkler too, because unless you're just blasting off in 5 minutes, that's no winkler going on there at all. All right, the turd in the background says, that was the word last week, winkler. The turd of the background, people get it, they're having fun with it at work. The turd in the background says, welcome to the Straight Red Card. Will Gregg talk to Gio? I don't know. Will Gio ever play for Gregg again? Probably. Will my wife let me finger her? No, but I can clean the jizz off the floor after the orgy. Oh my God. This is getting worse by the week. Oh my God. Dude, I feel so bad for you. Listen, Michael, anything we can do to help out? Just
I think his wife watches our show and go, can I really get away with this?
All right. Way to start the show. We start with Winklers, and now we're off to this. You turds. So what Berlin is saying, sorry guys, I can't make it. So he's just going to show up and like it, and then he's going to watch it later.
I got another one pulling up here. Basically the 75 people watching right now, you should all be going down there and clicking that thumbs up.
Yeah, go down there. and click the like button or the thumbs up button or whatever the fuck you want to call it. I really don't care. Berlin, by the way, is in Germany, so yeah, time difference kind of screws things up for him here. At Derek, I joined Big Soccer in 1999. I really just don't want to be in any way associated with the ecosystem of U.S. soccer bullshit. I really just give two flying fugs. I guess I am old and cranky. That sounds like something I would say.
Yeah, there are a number of people expressing this on the twits. People basically saying like, "Can I file for a one-time switch?" You know, that type of stuff.
To what?
To a different team.
No, you can't. It's not going to be that bad. The team is really good going into the next World Cup.
I think their big issue is the big boys club and
yeah, it's disgusting.
Shenaniganry, you know.
Yeah, it's vomit worthy, like the Fox coverage was so U.S. soccer like. It really made you want to get physically ill, and I get that. I know it's hard to stomach some of this shit. What's amazing to me are the people who not only can stomach it, but are like, nah, this shit's good. I like eating fucking feces. Give me some more. I love nibbling fucking little turds. I mean, there are people out there who think this is all good and dandy and fine. I mean, it's really amazing to me. They must be living in a goddamn Disneyland. All right. So let me see. Something else that happened here, which was...
Yeah.
Okay. Every morning I wake up, and I don't know if you feel this way, Brett. I just have to get this off my chest. Every morning I wake up on a Monday, especially, and I think, oh,
you do. That's good.
Fuck, I got to get up and go to work. Oh, shit. Then I got to do a fucking show later. I don't want to do anything. I just want to lay in bed and have the world leave me alone. I don't know. But I wake up feeling that way quite a bit. I don't know if that's... but I've been doing that for about 5 years now. So I've learned to kind of get over it. So what I do is talk to myself on the way to work. And I say things like, dude, it's going to be fine by like lunchtime. Well, no, I'm not jerking off here. I'm driving my car.
You're milking a cow, right?
That's it. I'm milking a cow. I'm driving to work. And I convince myself, hey, at about noon, everything will be fine. You'll love everything. You'll be ready for the day. And it happens every day. I must be the worst waker-upper in the world. Like, I'm the most negative. You think I'm bad on this show. You should see me in the morning. You don't want to be anywhere near me. I am the crankiest, just grumpiest son of a bitch for like at least the first 2 hours I'm awake. So I don't ever wake up out of bed and go, oh, yeah, I'm ready for the day. Oh,
Derek,
yeah,
I have zero intent of lying in bed and waking up next to you at any point in my life. Even if we go to a can't be a World Cup qualifying match by any means, but even if we go to a friendly or a World Cup match, we're getting separate rooms.
I know. No
shit. That's predominantly for your safety because I snore a lot.
I can't sleep with other people in the room unless it was my ex-wife. I figured out how to do that, but it wasn't easy. I love sleeping by myself. So, I mean, it's just pure bliss being quiet and shit. But, what I learned to do is when I was married, I turn on the fan, right? So it'd be like in the background. So if she rolled over or moved or whatever, I didn't hear any of that. I was blissfully asleep. And we had the king size, right? And it's not like we're gigantic mammals. So she was really small. I think she's like 5'3" or she's like 5'3", 5'4". Small woman. So it's not like she took up a lot of room. I think my dog, the way he would sprawl out on the bed, would take up more room than
ironically the smallest one of the group.
And he's tiny, but he would roll around and take up all the space he possibly could.
Say when Monty would always do it, she'd just stretch her legs out until they became stiff planks.
Oh yeah.
You'd be like on the edge of the bed with just enough space to hold the side of your body in place. Like, what the fuck am I doing here?
Yeah, dogs can be like, hey, this shit's mine. I don't know. That's how they do it. Also watched this documentary about Rosemary Kennedy. I guess the Kennedys are sort of in the news because of Robert RFK Jr., right? Was running for president. But man, do you know they lobotomized this chick because she was a pain in the ass? Not because she
I've
needed it.
heard this. Maybe you've told me about this before.
I might have told you about it before. I couldn't believe it. I think I've seen something on it before, and I saw it again. I'm like, okay, wait a minute.
She never fucking stops talking.
Yeah, she wouldn't stop talking. She was kind of a rebel. She was a pain in the ass. They just like, oh, yeah, we're sending her off to get lobotomized. And then, after that, she was quiet.
That's her third bra she burned?
I know. And back then, you know how they did this shit? It was not scientific.
It was a drill. It was just a drill.
No, worse. It was like a spike or a nail.
Was it a saw one?
They put on your cranium and they hammered it in there until they hit the spot they were aiming for, and that lobotomized you. Not very scientific. And I think hers was in the 1950s, late 50s. They were still guessing where the part was and using a fucking nail to hammer it through your skull. What the fuck is that shit? And she wasn't the only one lobotomized in that day and age. This was a normal thing to do to people who were antisocial or didn't have the social skills you would expect from society, which were pretty goddamn, the pucker factor there on the anus is tight. So if you didn't fit into your wealthy family standards, man, they just went bam, 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 lobotomized, bitch.
I know this is a TV show and all, but I feel like it's got to be relatively close to historically accurate in a sense. But have you ever seen the TV show Rome?
Rome.
It's an HBO series.
Sounds familiar.
So there's a scene where one of the main characters gets like a clay liquor bottle smashed across his head, and they had to have a doctor cut open into a skull to remove some fragments and put a metal plate in there.
Yeah,
and it was basically a round saw that they moved like a little, almost like a violin, thing across, and it basically just rotated the saw around like this, cut through his skull, and then they took little nails and they pinned this little metal plate in there, and he passed out. I feel like it's got to be some along those lines.
Was he conscious?
Yeah, he had a little stick in his mouth. Probably.
Oh, fuck that! Give me a fucking break. That is gruesome.
Yeah, yeah. Medieval medical. It absolutely was.
Well, that's like the movie with Hannibal Lecter, where Ray
is feeding him part of his brain.
He's feeding him his own brain. Oh my god, that is horrifying. Okay, that's all the horseshit I have for tonight. Let's start on other horseshit.
All right. Well, Derek, when was the last time you took mass transit? Whether it's bus, subway, those two things. Not a plane. I don't consider that in this situation. It could have been plane, I guess, but let's stick bus and subway.
Let's see. My car broke down somewhere in the 90s, and I had to take the bus to school, to college. I had to take in Bloomington.
That's probably the last time I took a bus too. Was actually in Bloomington.
Yeah, it's been almost 30 years. Excuse me. Yeah,
the joys of living out in rural, flyover United States, basically.
Oh,
right?
We're spoiled. We're spoiled. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, obviously. I imagine the people who live in the major metropolises, the New Yorks, especially like San Francisco and LA at this point, you really got to worry about you really got to worry about the people that are on the mass transit with you and possibly seeing parts of them you don't want to see.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
What do we got here?
Look at this guy.
What is this?
Okay. It's a guy with.
He's probably just.
They're hanging. They're dropping down low, man.
He's holding a bag of some sort with two, round objects in them. It's pretty good though.
Pretty sure, man. I can see the wrinkles, man. I'm pretty sure that's a testicle and a scrotum.
I think it's 2 balls of yarn. That's what that is.
I think he needs to go to the doctor, man. Look at that. That is stretching.
Hey, I would be the first to say if that were real, yes, you need to go to the doctor. I've been there, buddy.
Yes, if only it were real.
Except they didn't look like that because they were filled with intestines, not yarn balls.
That was a hell of a buildup. I agree. I really had to stretch because I just can't throw that shit up there, man. Seriously.
All right. What's next?
I know in the past we've talked about stuff, some mathematics, especially Japanese multiplication.
Oh, we're doing this again?
How silly that was.
I don't know if it's silly. I'd rather not learn how to do it newly.
Well, I mean, it was silly because it took 10 times as long to do. I tried it. That and then the way that we did it back in the day.
I mean, some of this is really easy. 9 times 6 is 54. 8 times 9 is 72. Now, okay, all right.
Continue, Derek. Let's see. Whatever.
Yeah, that's more complex. I get it. But I could do it. You want me to do it on a piece of paper? I could do that.
Not really.
Okay, well, all right.
I'm going to turn the volume off on this because who really needs it? You just need to see what happens here.
All right.
All right. So, you subtract 1. That gives you 5. And you take that 5 over there. That gives you 4. The answer is 54.
What?
7, 2, 72.
So he's just minusing 1 on each. Okay.
Carrying that over and subtracting it from that. And it works. Legitimately works.
I mean, it works, but is it really faster?
Can you do 48 times 99 faster than that?
Maybe. I don't know. It'd be close, but you probably
what about
not.
83 times 999?
Probably not. No.
Look at it. It gets worse. Seriously. You're talking about getting into the millions here soon.
That's pretty fucked up.
I can't believe it works like that. It's fascinating how some shortcuts just are never taught.
It's got to subtract all that shit, though. Okay,
Yeah,
but it works.
multiplying all that has to be significantly worse, though.
That's fucked up, dude. That's all I got to say. But it works. So, hey, if it works, it works. I don't really care how you get the answer. I guess as long as you get to the answer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Hey, Japanese, you do whatever you want. If this is being taught,
I don't know who did that one. I don't know if that was. They didn't specify Japanese by any means, but
okay.
Still, I mean, who comes up with these shortcuts? Who looks at that and says, if I just subtract 1 here and then subtract the answer to that and just put them together, that works.
Dustin Hoffman. Dustin Hoffman.
Fair enough. I guess that's probably the route you got to go. Yeah.
That was a movie reference for those of you who missed it. All right, what do we got here?
Well, this is some puppy training. You mentioned your dog, and I mentioned my dog briefly. My dog was a boxer, and this, in fact, is a boxer as well.
Okay.
And I have to say, this video is 100% accurate to boxers.
All right.
So this is going to be a stay.
Okay.
Come, and the dog's supposed to come, sit down next to you, give him a treat. It's a different type of training, Derek. You're not used to that type of thing, I guess.
Okay. My dog just listened. I said, "Stay, come here. Stay, come here." But I never told.
He's a good puppy.
Oh my God, what a spaz. that dog is happy. That's a happy dog. I like to see that.
I miss Monty.
Oh,
sad
I'm sure you do.
Sad moment of life is over here.
Let's know.
Let's move on to happier things.
But everybody will remember Monty for her breathing in the background of the show.
It added a nice ambience to our show, somebody snoring in the background.
Yeah.
We talk about soccer again.
Please talk about soccer. Please. All right. I'm sure we're getting there, folks. Just depends on Brett and whatever he's got up his sleeve for the evening.
We're moving along pretty quickly through my fluff, but
okay.
Regardless, Derek, I actually sent this to you in a text. This next one is upcoming.
Yeah, I think you did. I think I know what you're bringing up here.
Are you about to get microchipped because the World Economic Forum tells you need to?
So I looked this up because this is fact checked and all, and I'm like, okay, hold on now. So yeah, I think there was a panelist who said this is what we need to do. I don't think it was everybody on the panel, but I do think it was one panelist who said that's what we're going to probably have to head to if you want to participate in society. But fuck no, you ain't touching me, motherfucker. I'm happy
in my cornfield here in Indiana. I do not need to expand myself out if that's the case. Sorry, I do not need to get microchipped for you.
Yeah, fuck that shit. You're not microchipping me. I am not living in your brave new world. Fuck you. Fuck off. That is something you die for, right? You don't let that shit happen because I ain't going to live in that dystopian bullshit. All right. And we're getting near there anyhow with the CBDCs.
So there's a Bill Burr skit where he talks about, he's like, hey, some of these commercials are really getting to me. I mean, I don't know if you have these Duracell commercials down here. I think he was in Australia or whatever. And he's like, yeah, I was watching this Duracell video. And it used to be like, oh, changing a flat and it's pouring down rain. Well, thank goodness. He pulls out his flashlight. Thank goodness I got Duracell. That's how it used to be. Right. But then now he's like, now I'm watching this video of this mother at a park. And she's going, Dennis? Has anybody seen Dennis? And she pulls out some contraction out of her phone, goes beep, boop, pop, pop, pop. And Dennis comes running out of the forest. And thank goodness I've got Duracell. And he goes, fuck the batteries. What's that device you just pulled out? What microchip do you have in Dennis?
Yeah, I know. No, that's scary. It's scary. This is fighting words for me. Like, you knock on my door and tell me I got to put a fucking chip, I'm done. And now I read the pros and cons of the CBDCs from various people, and that stands for central bank digital currencies. Listen, okay, does it make it faster so people get their money faster? Like, because the transfer is automatic between different banks and different buying and selling parties? Okay, fine. Yes, but I don't want like it to also be based on some sort of social score that you have to attain in order to get a loan or whatever. It's getting creepy. Like, we already
they're actually doing that in China, If you
I know. But you
have a social credit score, yeah.
We already have creepy. It's called credit score. All right. And there's like 3 major credit score companies. They all have different fucking scores. So we already got creepy. People who know about your bills and shit and track it and basically can tell, like, if you're trying to buy a car, they can go tell somebody, yeah, that motherfucker was late on his fucking house payment 12 times last year. And not only that, he forgot to pay his electric bill twice. He paid it late twice. That fucking slacker. Then he took a loan like 10 years ago and he never paid it back. And he's supposed to pay it back in 5 years. He didn't finish paying it off until like 9 years. This guy's a fucking slacker. Don't sell him a fucking car. Now, that's kind of the world that we're going to get into, but on a different scale, on a different level. And it's going to have to do a lot with some other weird shit. Listen, I don't trust anything that these weirdos at the World, whatever, Economic Forum. Who are these people? They don't know normal people. They're gazillionaires. They don't know normal fucking people. Every average day, Americans or human beings in their own country. They had this superstar Peruvian guy on one of the forums I watched. He hasn't talked to the average villager in Peru. Like an average villager in Peru isn't going to use cash money. Of course he's going to use cash. And you're going to convince him not to use barter, trade, and cash money? No, I don't think so. Good luck with that. He lives on a fucking boat on a river in Peru. He's got no digital availability.
What they'll do is they'll ruin the currency, and the only way that's worthwhile living will have to be this digital currency that you use through said banks. So,
well, I guess they'll ruin his life, and poor people will suffer everywhere in the world because they don't have access to computers and phones and digital shit and whatever. I guess they're going to have to spend a lot of money on poor people. I like how a lot of the WF forums are about, oh yeah, this is really all about raising everybody up in the end. Raising who up, motherfucker? That is really not your specific focus. Your focus is on power and making sure your money gets to you as fast as you fucking can and belittling people and making them insignificant. They're just cogs in your little fucking game. And that's where we're going towards. Hopefully this isn't something that, we're all getting excited about because it looks scary to me. I don't want to live in that brave new world.
John says you're already chipped. It's your cell phone.
Yes, in many ways we are. They can follow us around with that fucking thing. Absolutely true. You cannot no longer commit a murder and then drive around with your phone and escape. You got to throw that shit out the window.
Yeah, you better keep your phone at home. That way they think you're at home. Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm not endorsing murdering. I'm just saying.
It depends on who it is, I guess, right?
I'm just saying we live in a different time.
What they really asked for, Derek? Is it okay then? Brian DeMarco says, coming from the host, owned by a Canadian billionaire porn star. Hey. Peter is not a billionaire.
Let's be
He's
really
just a
honest.
Multi-millionaire.
Yeah, he's not that rich. Yeah, he's not. Now, the Oppenheimer brothers, they're quite rich. and they watch the show. So thank you, Oppenheimer brothers. They're
I
billionaires.
can't verify if Peter North actually watches our show or not. But
I think he's in jail, isn't he?
No, you're thinking of Ron Jeremy.
No, he's on trial, but I think, well, maybe I'm wrong about it.
Peter North is an entrepreneur video maker.
Okay. I don't want him to sue me or hit me in the side of the head with his dick either. So
you can't pick one or the other, Derek.
Boom! I'm going to knock your ass out with that thing.
Exactly.
All right. What else we got?
All right. We kind of already ruined this topic early on, Derek, but let's go ahead and go over it and then ask the chat what they think, quite frankly.
All right. One has to go forever. I don't think already shrimp should not be here. That should be lobster, not shrimp. Can we change that to lobster?
I don't care. Sure. Why not? Yeah, shrimp seems so cheap and easy that could be the easy go-to, but
yeah,
let's go lobster. And that way it's a little more, it's tougher for the people who like the seafoods.
Yeah. I still have to go with steak because I can't find a good steak anymore. I've tried. I've failed. I've bought many porters houses. The only thing you can get that's decent is a filet, and that's not as tasty as a good steak. And now we had a great, my parents and the whole family had a great, what's that called? Prime rib during the holidays, but we've had 9 bad steaks in a row at my parents' house. Like we cannot, they're all stringy or they're tough and they're cooked perfectly. Absolutely cooked perfectly. So
what's the matter with you? So I'm looking at some of the chat while we're talking here.
It's just bad steaks lately. I can't get a good steak anywhere. I guess I would have to go to somewhere really high-end butcher or something to find some really good steaks, or I'd have to order online and get a Wagyu or something. Because I'm just unlucky right now. Looks like a great marbled steak and it sucks.
Take a nice Airbnb vacation up to Michigan. Buy a lake, preferably, so you can enjoy the scenery and everything. Maybe a nice little swim, and hit up any butcher shop up there.
Yeah,
and you will find great cuts for dirt cheap prices. The only reason why the butchers around here are not cheap is because they are the suburbs, especially the northern suburbs of Indiana.
Or Nora.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about heavy prices because of the cost of having that butcher shop there. The reason why the places in Michigan are so good is because they're out in the bumfuck Egypt. It costs them like $2 to own a fucking store. So,
yeah.
For me, it's shrimp slash lobster. I'll get rid of it.
Yeah, because you don't like seafood that much. Yeah.
So going over everybody in the chat here, we have a shrimp's got to go. Ribs.
Yeah. Ribs. Oh God,
you'll be surprised.
I love ribs.
There's quite a few of the ribs here. Shrimp is greater than lobster.
I don't think so, unless you get those monster shrimps. I've had those. Those are amazing. Those aren't actually called shrimp. They're called something else.
More ribs, whatever seafood, ribs. Chris Carey says, "I don't like steak. That's my pick."
Hey, it's all fair. It's all This is like very, very subjective.
Brian says lobster can go. We got ribs again.
I love fried.
Chris verifies. He also says the barbecue in the Northeast sucks.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The ribs, man, ribs is the thing that's going.
I
don't want ribs.
Ribs, if you're not making them right, if you don't like them, you're not making them right.
Falling right off the bone, that's delicious.
Oh God, yeah. There's so many great ways, and if we had our own show called Foodies, which we could start. We could give you recipes on how to cook ribs so they are mouth-watering, falling off the bone.
I don't think the layer of caramelized barbecue that's on those ribs is necessary if you do it right.
No, and it shouldn't look like that. That's not how they should look. There should be some caramelization happening on that shit. That is a horrible picture of a perfectly ruined ribs.
Those are like the ribs you get at a Chinese buffet. They really are.
Worse. Those are worse. That's the shit you get at like one of those cheap ass Ruby Tuesdays or whatever.
Yeah.
All right, I just inhaled my own spit. Hold on.
Great.
Before we get to Jonathan Rupert, tonight's beer is a Westmalle Trappist, and again, Trappist Extra. And I looked at the alcohol content on this, Brett, and I nearly lost it. I'm like, you got to be fucking shitting me. It's like 5.5.
Hmm.
Like that's way below my standards for a Belgian beer.
Yeah.
Needs to be closer to 10. So I will say, I'm going to taste it here in a second. I already took a sip earlier. It doesn't taste that great either.
Real quick,
For
I'll come back to Jonathan Rupert's comment here. USA is soccer country, says fried chicken go. I can still grill chicken.
I love fried chicken.
And Joey immediately followed up with, no one said fried chicken.
I love fried chicken. I can eat it all day.
The funny thing is that
it'll kill you. But yeah,
let's remove the seafood aspect because I'm going to pick the seafood regardless of what it is. Despite the fact that in Jamaica I did partake in plenty of raw tuna and sushi and shit.
Nice.
But I would normally if I had any of the option, I will take a land animal over a sea animal any day of the week. So if you get rid of the sea animal, I would get rid of the fried chicken because of how insanely unhealthy it is for you. Not because of how it tastes. Oh my God, it's phenomenal.
Yeah, I just made my own fried chicken this weekend. It was goddamn tasty. Yeah, I mean, there's a skill to it too. You don't necessarily have to use flour. What you do is you baking powder and cornstarch. No, cornstarch and baking powder together with whatever spices you mix in, and you can bake those to a crisp. Bake them to a crisp in your oven. Mm-hmm. Again, if we had a foodie show, I'd tell you how to do it. Maybe we will someday. Well, we're running out of time for the bullshit section. Is the only reason I'm not doing it.
Speaking of the foodie show, and this is one reason why I wanted to bring this up, despite the fact that Derek and I talked about this quite a bit before the show. I want to know what the chat's take on steak is and how it should be prepared. Because I think fried chicken's, it's set. You cook it until it's done. Ribs, you want to slow cook them until they basically fall off the bone. Shrimp can go die in a corner. But steak, how do you cook a steak? I mean, Derek, how do you cook a steak?
Well, you can do it two different ways, and I've had them work both. I love to use grill, but I think pan frying can work as well. You pan fry, you sear, then you put it in the oven on a mild temperature until done, and then take out and serve. But yeah, a lot of people swear by using those little pockets where you boil them for a long time. That's how they do it. A lot of them do. They boil it in a bag in water.
I know what you're talking about, and I know people like that shit. But
then they take it out and they sear the fuck out of it. So that's called a reverse sear.
Yeah.
Or you can do sear and then cook, which is what you do on a frying pan.
Yeah.
But grills are great. It's just you got to get the right temperature, etc. So.
Medium rare for me.
Yes.
All day long. Can't go wrong.
Yeah, I don't like the rare.
And
what do you
use to season your steak?
We use Derek's secret spice. It's good. It's really good.
I don't know if I want to know what that is, Derek.
It's not my secret seed. It's my secret spice. For Christ's sake. All right. Let's move on.
As far as steak is concerned, salt and pepper is all you need to go. Maybe a little bit of garlic, but salt, pepper.
Yeah, you don't need to get too fancy.
Nope.
All right, Jonathan Rupert for $5. Thank you, brother, and thanks to all of you for hanging in through Food Talk today. Good evening, gentlemen. I have great news. I want to share with all my friends at TSRC a career change to a high school history teacher. No shit. I did that as well, Jonathan. I didn't do it very long. I did it for 2 years.
You did it for history, though?
Yeah. So I taught
English.
I taught 5 periods, 3 periods, 2 periods of English, 1 period of creative writing, and 2 periods of history. So I was like a dual threat there at Spencer in Owen Valley High School in Spencer back in the late 90s.
Spencer, Indiana?
Yeah.
Oh,
Owen Valley High School's in Spencer. Yeah.
I mean, it's right there next to Bloomington. I get it.
Yeah, it's
well,
a 30-minute
congratulations,
drive.
Man.
Yes.
Props to going to a high school history teacher.
I don't know how strict the curriculum is now. I mean, back in my day, you had the books. You had to read the books. But then, we had an opportunity to kind of act out some of the historic scenes with the students. That was always fun. Like somebody got to be Napoleon.
She's a witch.
Somebody was Lincoln in a scene and somebody else. Anyhow, we had a lot of fun time doing history. And if it's not fun, then it ain't a really good history class. So,
Well, Jonathan, again, thanks for the 5.
John Kavulich, $2. If I lived in Indiana, I'd skip seafood too. I just had 2 really great lobster tails that I got from Whole Foods on Friday that I ate on Sunday. They were fabulous. So, Yep.
Thanks for the $2, John.
Jose Reyes, thanks for the 5, brother. Shrimp, easy. I'm not eating sea bugs. Fish would be different. Steak, simple. Salt, pepper, and seared with some butter. Fried chicken is bah. Cheers.
Bay. It's good.
Bay. Oh, okay. Bay, yes.
Thanks,
Yeah, I
Jose,
love
for that 5.
love
Yeah, I
fried
agree.
chicken.
I agree with everything there. Who wants to eat sea bugs? Gross.
I've kind of lost. I mean, unless I'm eating prawns, those gigantic prawns, which are like buttery, and I mean, they're great. But those small little shrimp things, yeah, I'm kind of bored of them. I have to admit, kind of bored of shrimp, like normal average shrimp. Doesn't do much for me. That's why I eat lobster, which is kind of them, really. But they're right now, it's $11 a tail at Whole Foods. I'm not talking about the hookers near Whole Foods. I'm talking about Whole Foods lobster tails.
Okay.
Not the hookers.
There, yeah, and the hookers.
The hookers in Nora.
You do not want to partake, Derek. Back away slowly. Don't make eye contact.
That's what she said. Back away slowly. All right.
Well, Derek, the Canadian men's national team's not the only part of Canada that's having trouble right now. Canadian national team struggling on the pitch, losing to the United States twice.
Mexico looks like they're struggling with me.
But apparently the Canadian hospitals aren't even trying to hide shit anymore. Canadian hospitals aren't even hiding it anymore. Come on, guys.
That is a horrible.
That is wrong. Wrong.
That is really bad. I don't know who came up with that, but looks like 3 hanging people. Looks like they're hanging 3 people.
Well,
and
they just approved assisted suicide, so it makes sense that you're saying, "Hey, come here, guys. You can do it here."
It looks like a whole family decided to hang each other at the same time. That's horrible. That's a really horrible logo.
What the worst? I mean, even if you remove the context of what just recently passed, that's just a bad sign.
That's poorly designed. Yes, poorly designed. I mean, it looks bad. Yeah. Yeah, that's bad.
Canada, seriously.
Oh, Canada. Okay. Blah, 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 blah. Don't know the lyrics.
Derek, do you want to cover the Pulisic might be part of the Illuminati video, or do you want to skip that?
No, go ahead. Play it. It's Pulisic, right? That's soccer.
Hey, it's soccer related. Why not?
By the way, guys, there's not a lot of going on in soccer, if you haven't noticed right now. So
we're gonna get there.
We are gonna get there, but there's just not a lot going on. I watched the Mexico-Panama match, so we'll get to that. There is transfer news. So we'll get to that, and we'll talk about Gregg and his itchy balls later. But you've seen the celebration, right? Okay.
You've seen the celebration, right? This isn't just any normal tattoo. This is the mark of the beast. Christian Pulisic is an Illuminati member, and this proves it. Illuminati members are known to act blind when they are asked about the Illuminati. He said he got this tattoo because his favorite athlete is Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods is a known high-ranking Illuminati member. It is likely that Tiger Woods inducted Christian Pulisic into the Illuminati coven, but some will say it's just a theory, just like anything else you believe. Wake up.
This is a joke, right?
Of course, Derek. Yes, of course it's a joke.
No, I don't know anymore. How am I supposed to know this is a joke? They're fucking
he is
wackos.
Part of the Illuminati.
There are fucking wackos out there, dude. Really? No, seriously, Brett. There are people who would really watch that and they would believe that Pulisic's a part of the Illuminati.
It's on Twitter. It's on TikTok, so it's got to be true, right?
Well, when would he have time to be going to all these special Illuminati meetings? He basically plays 10 months out of a year, and then he's playing national team games. He just got a fucking 2-week breather before he has to go back and start playing again. I mean, how much time do you have to organize? Doesn't sound like Tiger's much of an Illuminati either if the fucking Saudis and Live Golf can go behind his back and he feels betrayed because they just did whatever shit they wanted to do. And then they like, PGA's like, oh yeah, no, we talked to Tiger. Tiger's like, no, you fucking didn't. You didn't say shit to me. Fuck off. Do not even lie. So yeah, if you're a member of Illuminati, definitely would have been consulted on that Live PGA partnership. You would have thought. All right.
Okay.
Not that there isn't an establishment. I want to be really clear. There is an establishment, but it's not as organized as an Illuminati. It's basically like just a bunch of fucking rich pricks running the world. That's how it works. They run the world, by the way. Not the president of the United States, not the president of Germany, not the chancellor of Germany, not the prime minister. Those guys are just doing their bidding. So there you go. Right. But it's not quite the Illuminati. You call it whatever you want, though. Cristiano Ronaldo, Saudi League is better than MLS. What? He didn't really say that, did he?
Yeah. Think Fabrizio would be posting bullshit? No, clearly he said this. I think he said this with an AK pressed to his temple.
I think that he's joking. Romano's joking. This cannot be a real quote. I'm 100% sure I won't return to any English club. I opened the way to Saudi League, and now all the players are coming here. Okay, well, that's going to be for like 1 or 2 years, and then that whole jizz fest will be over.
There's an extended quote where he talks about how like the Serie A was a dying league until I went there, and now look at them, they're bustling.
Well, I think he might have too high of a fucking at this point in his career.
He's trying to channel his inner Ibrahimovic.
Hey, don't call him a bitch. All right.
I've actually liked him as he got older and everything like that. But man, when he played for Juve and he bounced when they got relegated, which I totally understand, but still.
Yeah, he had to move on from that.
He had to, yeah. He wasn't going to go play in Serie B. Yeah. I know that, but still, I still called him Ibrahimovic ever since then.
All right. Well, I'm sure he appreciates that.
Oh, I'm sure he doesn't give a fuck.
No, he doesn't care. Yeah. All right. So I don't know about if he really said that. I mean, usually Fabrizio just tells the truth. He's not really got a massive sense of humor that I know of. So I don't know. I mean, if Cristiano really thinks that, well, I think he's smoking some good shit.
They're paying him what, like $1 billion? I'm sure he'll say whatever they want him to say.
Yeah.
This is the best league in the world. It competes with EPL.
Sure, his lips will flap and say whatever they please. Yeah. Caden Clark will reportedly join Dutch Eredivisie FC20 on loan for the upcoming season. Well, this will be a chance for him to play. Mm-hmm. That's nice because he's not going to be playing for Red Bull Leipzig at any time soon. Mm-hmm. When I say anytime soon, I might mean ever. I hate to be that.
Yes. That's true though, right?
I hate to be mean.
He might be going on the loan spree, and then if he succeeds at a loan somewhere on his loan, he might get bought out. And I'm sure Leipzig are probably hoping for it, to tell you the truth.
I know he's a friend of tax, and I mean, I'm not saying this to be nasty in any way. I just saw a guy hit a fucking hard ass ceiling in MLS and never get any better than once he hit the ceiling. Maybe time in Europe will help. We'll see. But right now, I think Belgium's about, Holland's about where he has a good chance to get playing time.
Yeah.
So this is a good move for him, and we'll see if it
pans out.
It helps. Did I write him off in the write him off section?
No.
Okay, I didn't. Yeah.
I don't think you wrote him off just yet. You're like, well, we got to see what happens.
Yeah. But I'm not writing him off yet, but it's close. It's close. I'm really close. Really close. It's saying, don't even bother worrying about Caden Clark. He won't amount to a hill of beans. Haven't said that, but I'm close to saying it. Even though I think he's a splendid kid. From what I know from Tact, he's a great kid. So this isn't about hate. I actually like Caden Clark. Not being a hater. Just saying
hopefully
where his level is.
Don't catch a hold of this, Derek. They might assume that you are Caden hating,
Yeah, but I'm not. I think he's probably a good guy.
Some mocking nickname for him too, I guess, huh?
No, I won't, because he's a good kid. So I'm not going to call him like a Pirate of the Caribbean or anything. All right.
Once again, the nickname that Jesus should absolutely lean into, 100%.
Oh, I think he should go all Jack Sparrow. Go Sparrow, buddy.
Every time
Stuttgart.
you score a goal in MLS, you're lifting one leg up doing the Captain Morgan. That's
Hell
what you
yeah.
got to do.
He should do it.
Mhm.
Stuttgart, two other Bundesliga clubs are interested in Malik Tillman, who's doing individual training and ruled out of Bayern's Tegernsee camp. Boy, that's hard to see. Some loose requests from the Premier League. Oh, that's very loose. I mean, loose as a 80-year-old hooker. Nothing concrete yet. Bayern want a sale and buyback option, not a new loan. Huh. Well, I don't know if they're going to get that. I honestly don't.
A sale plus buyback?
I know that's what they want, but I think what they're going to get is a loan. Okay.
Okay. This is new to me because, I mean, I've never heard of an actual buyback. The Bayern could actually sit there and say, hey, we're going to sell him to you, but if he does well, we're going to buy him back. Is that what they're saying?
Yeah, that's a really weird setup. Usually it's a loan with the option to buy.
Yeah.
That's usually how that works.
And if you want to keep him on your team, you just jack the price up and say, like, hey, it's $40 million. Take him.
Yeah. I mean, maybe what they're talking about is a deal where they sell him, and if the other team is totally unsatisfied, they are obligated to buy him back. I don't know. I've never heard of such a deal before. But, this isn't Fabrizio anyhow, so it's really hard to say. But, yeah, Stuttgart would be fine. I think he should stay in the Bundesliga and play a season and see how it goes for him, and just hope his first Bundesliga season on loan doesn't turn out like Julian Green's. Like Julian Green's season at Stuttgart was a complete fucking disaster.
I feel like Tillman has a better attitude, though.
Oh, I do agree. So we'll see. I think Tillman's a more skilled player as well. So,
yeah.
Americans, is this transfer news?
Yeah.
Is that what we're doing?
Oh, we've been doing it, yes.
Oh, well, then I didn't do the song.
I thought you did.
No, I did it before the show started.
Proactively, we'll go and splice it back in. Go for it.
Transfer news. Everybody loves that transfer news but me. All right, there we go. Americans abroad transfer tracker Florin Balogun reported Inter Milan targets U.S. But they're also targeting and have been targeting other players. I don't know about that one.
You got to keep going until you get someone, I guess, huh?
I guess it's possible. They've been targeting a lot of guys, and then the whole thing with the Belgian guy ain't working out. Belgian's not working out. Lukaku apparently not picking up the phone, so that ain't working out. Yunus Musa reported AC Milan. Man, I really wanted him to go to Fulham. I think Fulham would be fun. I think AC Milan would be a challenge. He wouldn't be a starter at AC Milan. At Fulham, I think he gets more time to play. Not that Fulham don't have, as long as they keep everybody they had last. If they keep everybody Fulham had last year in the midfield, then he will fit in on occasion and start on occasion. He won't start right away, but I think he's got a better chance to play regularly at Fulham than he does for AC Milan. I might be wrong there, but it seems to me that Fulham, depending on who they lose, are going to struggle next season again to make sure they stay out of the bottom half of the table. They didn't struggle this year, but they could go straight back to struggling depending on who they lose. So, yeah, it makes sense that Musa wants to go to Milan.
Yeah. So those who are listening in their pockets and not watching it, Chambers says, telling sources have said that Musa is pushing for Milan.
Yep. It makes sense. Bigger name. Justin Shea.
We just talked about Clark. Yeah, Justin Shea next is official.
Yeah, that's so fucking weird. He's going to Brøndby to go hang out with what's his dick, who doesn't play all the games for Brøndby, who fell so far off my radar I can't even remember his name. Former FC Dallas kid. But
Kappas?
Yeah, Christian Kappas. Thank you.
Well, I mean, I don't want to take credit for it.
Thank you, Fallen Phoenix. Yeah, that seems like, wow, what a drop of a move. I just don't like that move. I would have rather him gone to 2 Bundesliga for a season and played there for somebody.
I mean, I can see a loan option, but man, just a quick sign and transfer. That's
Yeah.
a thing, I guess.
I guess that's weird. I mean, you got teams in Bundesliga 2 who are obvious candidates to be bumped up next season. Like, well, why wouldn't any of them be interested? Or is Justin Shea not who we thought he was, Brett? I think we're not the only ones who had really high expectations for Justin Shea.
So there was a whole it's like debacle going on the Twitter, and it split the fandom up as far as whether or not you should be scouting, hyping, and talking a lot of like personal information about, say, like a 13-year-old player. And because Marcus,
that was the didn't 29 say some shit, and then some guys
a couple. I mean, there were a couple of prominent people in our circles that basically said, "Dude, no, that's wrong," and basically saying like, "You don't talk like that about 13-year-old." And I mean, their point was like, well, we're scouting these players just like anybody else around the world scouts players. But regardless, my point. I do
think 13's a little early to draw any conclusions.
Hyping up so much. My point is that when you start hyping up youth players, and we all fall victim to this.
We all do it.
Especially.
I don't know about hyping. We might look at them on this show and go, "Well, this kid's got a high ceiling," but we're not going to hype them. We're not going to Freddie Adu them.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing. When you start talking about players that young, I mean, everybody else has time to develop and catch back up at that point. I mean, it's
when you start
talking about talented players at that age, you're just like, they're killing it at that point. But I mean, will they continue to kill it as everybody else develops and catches up?
Yeah, that's too early to be calling out.
That's why
this is a superstar.
Whenever we were coaching, when me and my brother were coaching, and we were doing stuff, it was like we would always tell the players, because this is like U10, U12 range. We're like, hey, you know what? The win itself doesn't matter. It's how you play, quite frankly, because what's going to happen is even though this team over here has incredibly talented athletes running up and down the pitch, you're eventually physically catching up to them by the time you get to high school. So you need to learn how to play the game itself, and that's what matters.
Yeah, 13's generally too early. I have never I've only made one very early error before where I did hype up a player. And that was our Arsenal.
Daisies?
Yeah. It was Arsenal kid.
Zalam?
Yeah, Zalam. And, I said from a very young age, this kid's the real deal. And I was just wrong because I didn't take into account injuries. So you have to, even if you think a player is splendid at 13, no, at 16, 17, 18, his knees could be ruined and he could never be the same player again. And that's what happened to Gideon. Mm-hmm. So, great, jizz in your pants all you want, but it's too early.
To your argument, though, minus those injuries, he might have amounted to being a very talented player.
He may have. We don't know. Now we'll never know, right?
And I guess I gotta say, scouting a player at the age of like 13, 14 isn't the issue. And I don't have an issue with whatever.
No, I don't have an issue with scouting.
I don't have a horse in this race at all. By all means, people who are scouting players are scouting them that early because they're bringing them into the fold to various different academy teams and stuff like that, and that's what happens. It's perfectly fine. I don't care. I'm just like when you start really hyping a player up that young.
Yeah, don't hype these kids up.
Yeah,
scout them. Say, hey, listen, I think this kid could have a high ceiling, but don't go there and say like, oh, he's definitely going to be a fucking rock star. Because guess what? 99% of the time, it doesn't work out unless your name is Messi or your name is Cristiano Ronaldo, and there are some others where it works out, but not for the United States. Like MLS teams didn't want anything to do with Pulisic, right? Because he was too small. So it's hard to say sometimes who's going to be this. I think the only guy that everybody was like, okay, yeah, this kid is Reyna. Like he's been hyped since he was like 12, 13 years old. But he was also growing higher and being taller physically for his age than most kids, which also went along with the hype too. But I didn't agree with hyping him. Mm-hmm. Just let him go out there and develop, but don't ever say, well, this is going to be until he shows you something at a high level like he has at Dortmund. Now you can say, okay, this kid has the ceiling where he could be the best American player to ever play. But I don't like 13 years old. I don't like, that's too much.
I mean, it still required a scout to go out and say, hey, this kid's talented. Let's bring him into the fold and see what he can do,
Yeah. Hyman did get a decent amount of hype.
The problem was he never grew. He never physically developed.
No, I mean,
he was
always
great
skinny.
At the underage. Yeah,
it's always a skinny little shit who never really developed physically. And I don't even know, does he play? I think he plays in USL now, doesn't he? You want to look that up?
He was at ATL for a while.
No, he was. Yeah, and he played there quite often for a while. But I think he's kind of dropped off the map at this point. But Emerson Hyman,
he plays for Memphis. You're right. It's USL.
So when he was at Rangers, looked pretty promising, but I wasn't like jizzing in my pants about him as a prospect. I just thought this is promising. But then, as you said, he never developed physically. He never really got wiser as a player. He always kind of played the same way. He got a little wiser in MLS, but never lived up to the hype at all. At all. George Bello, I mean, he joins Austrian side Lask. I hope he starts there, because if he doesn't start there, he's not even looked at as a starter for a 3 Bundesliga team.
Thank you. I was going to say that. I mean, his team just got relegated for the second year in a row, and he's moving over to Austrian side. I feel like this is a failure up. I mean, he's falling upwards, at this point.
No, because Lask isn't that great.
Doesn't matter. I feel like any first-rate division team at this point has got to be relatively competitive with the Bundesliga 3 at that point. Yes.
Who is the big-ass Seattle Sounders kid who went off to Austria back in the mid-2000s and scored like 8 goals in 13 games in the Austrian Bundesliga? Yeah, the Austrian Bundesliga has 2 good teams. That's it.
I don't know anybody who went to Austria in the early 2000s. So
there was a kid who did it, and he was a horrible MLS player. He was not very good, but then he went on he went to Europe and played for a couple seasons in Austria and did really well.
Watching the chat, see if anybody's got it, because I don't know this one.
Yeah. Anyhow, the point being that it's good for Bello because he'll get paid and played. But again, as far as writing players off and saying, yeah, this kid's not very good, I already did that about 8 months ago. So
all right, let's see here. We got a couple names coming in here. It wasn't Boyd, because he was not MLS.
No. He was just an American kid.
Jack D says Nagel?
No.
It doesn't ring a bell. Oh, didn't mean to click on that.
It doesn't matter. We don't have to get it right.
I don't know if it knows. Regardless, I think, quite frankly, instead of going down to play in Bundesliga 3, I think this is a step up for Bello. Now, whether or not he plays or whether or not the team itself is better, I don't know.
Most of Bundesliga 2 are better than most of the teams in Austria.
Fair enough.
So, and Bundesliga 3, now you're almost getting not to amateur hour, but to teams that, I mean, anyhow, it's bad. Let's just put it this way. George Bello's not been good, and this is the result of not going to Europe and not being very good. Starting out in Bundesliga, then not starting in 2 Bundesliga, then we'll see if he starts at Lask, which if he doesn't is quite embarrassing for him. And I mean, listen, it's not personal. Again, I'm sure Bello is a great kid. Nothing against him personally. I just didn't think he was a good player from the start. And then I wrote him off in a write him off show. I'm done with him.
Last, mind you, I guess there's only 6 teams in the Bundesliga, but Lask finished 3rd.
6 teams? There's a lot more teams than 6 teams in Austrian Bundesliga. You're looking at.
Then I'm looking at. Sorry, hold on.
You're looking at the playoff system that they do. Yeah.
So this is championship and there's relegation. So.
Right. Yeah. They split it in half.
So 12, whatever. It's 12, and they finished 3rd then. It's not bad.
Yeah, they're not horrible, but it's like Salzburg, and then for the most part, generally it's everybody else. You get like Austria, Wien, and some other teams will step up, but yeah. U.S. men's national team transfers. Here we go. Keith Pieri off to Excelsior. Well, if he doesn't get healthy, it doesn't really matter where he goes, honestly.
Yeah.
You know,
sure.
he can't stay healthy for a season. It doesn't matter where Keith goes. Dwayne Holmes to Preston North End. Yeah, Dwayne doesn't look like he has makes a lot of friends on the teams. Wherever he goes, he doesn't seem to make a lot of friends.
It's like I said, it's a shame. I mean, I enjoyed the one window that he played for the United States national team. I thought he played really well.
Mm-hmm.
And then him and Greg got into a pissing contest, and apparently that's
he got in a pissing contest with Rooney at Derby. He got in a pissing contest with the current coach at some point. Yeah, I mean, it ain't good. George, I don't mind a guy with confidence and an ego, but yeah, Dwayne Holmes pushes the wrong buttons.
Mm-hmm.
George Bello, we already talked about. Justin Jay, we already talked about. Zion Suzuki.
He's the
Japanese
or whatever Japanese American goalkeeper. Yeah, we talked about that.
Coming from Japan to Manchester United, huh? It says soon.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll see if that happens.
Not official.
Faloran, we already know about. We already talked about Musa. McKennie. Yeah, we don't know. Nobody seems to know. It looks like he's staying at Juventus. He's been training in a special camp away from the team.
Yeah. The thing is, Juve came out and flat out said, hey, you're not part of the picture. And people have a tendency of using this as a negative towards him. They're like, yeah, he's not that good. He's not that good. I'm like, no, Juve wants to sell him. That's the thing.
Yeah, so
Juve wants the payday at this point.
Yeah, so he's doing training outside the stable of other players. That's never nice, but, we'll see where he goes. It doesn't look like Aston Villa are making the kind of offers that Juventus want. So I don't know. This could end ugly if it keeps on keeping on like this.
Well, there definitely is that at some point there's got to be a tipping point as far as the overpricing of players. And I'm not saying necessarily that whatever 22 to 30 million for Weston's overpriced by means. I'm not going to argue that point. But I mean, at some point, there's teams are going to look at it and go like, "Well, we can't pony that money up right there,"
Yeah,
and it's going to happen.
Marlon Fossey should just stay at Standard Liège. I don't know why he's leaving.
It's question mark. I guess there's rumors, maybe not necessarily official by any means.
No, stay at Standard Liège. If I were him, just do another season, unless they're itching to get rid of you, which I don't know why they would. You had a good season for them. I know that Standard Liège, however, is one of those teams that has high expectation, expects to be at the top of the table every year, fighting for the championship, and they weren't last year. And I don't know, maybe they want to change some things. Who fucking knows?
Mm-hmm.
Breaking news, Brandon Craig is reportedly unhappy at Austin FC already. He just got there.
So soon, yeah.
He's unhappy. He has 0 minutes so far, and that Coach Wolf has him training with, oh my God, ATX2. Why haven't I played yet? The brother Kip is ass, and Cascante can't defend 1v1 to save his life, said Greg. Damn, don't say those things.
That's some brutal comments, man.
He really said that?
Even if well, I mean, I don't want to say Tom's lying here by any means, but
that sounds like something I would say, Brett.
So, but that's the thing. Let's just say
that brother Kip is ass.
Let's say Wolf comes in and says, "Hey, Craig, we need you to come in. You're going to play next to Kip," and like, well, you just told him he was ass. Yeah,
he'd be like, "Smell this ass, Mr. Craig. Smell this." Yeah, I don't. That's a bad thing to say.
About hold on. We got people. I'm the one that fell for it, guys, because I'm like,
okay.
People are saying that's fake from Tom. Tom, you killing me if that's the case. Wait, hold on. Is that a fake Tom?
That's a fake Tom.
That's a fake Tom. That's what it is. That's what Mike was telling us. Oh, and there's Chris. Oh no.
Oh my God.
Derek, how could you fall for this?
I no. That's why I said this cannot be real. I said, is this real?
When you get down to the brother Kip his ass, I mean, at that point, yeah, you have to think that something's amiss there. But
that's why I said it sounds like something I would say.
I can't help it. I see stuff. I gotta pull it up, guys. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that didn't look real.
I need to start paying attention to the Twitter handles. Son of a bitch.
That's all right. It was fun.
It happens, I guess.
It was fun. What else we got?
All right. Well, let's talk about the growing list of pundits that are coming out and saying that our best players should aim to play at MLS before the World Cup.
Oh, by the way, we didn't even mention this last time, but Balogun saw the video,
Yes, he did. Yeah.
the tweet. Yeah, Balogun saw it.
The viral video, guys. Yeah.
Yes, he's like, "What the fuck is this?"
It's made its rounds. Everybody's seen this shit.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. All right.
Okay, so this is let's see here. Let's see. Let's start it off. So this is all starting about talking about how players should be keeping an eye at how like Los Angeles Galaxy should be looking at Christian Pulisic, and I said
They don't have the fucking money.
Every week I try, and
That was back in May.
No. Yes, I know, but this is where it starts. This is
Okay.
the starting of the threads.
Of a new thread. Okay.
So like Max says, don't be shocked when, and I'm sure some already have, MLS clubs make a run at Pulisic, McKennie, or Reyna. I predict one of these will be here before the next World Cup. And I know we brought this up because it's back in May, so I guarantee we covered this. But again, it's laying the foundation, quite frankly.
Well, I still can't believe Max said this. I've been on his show. I feel like we were friends. I feel like I've known him since 2011 when we first had him on our show. And I just couldn't see something like this coming out of his trap. This is shocking to me because it's a horrible assessment.
So the overall
of
argument,
the future.
Yeah, the overall argument, and I mean Donovan brings up, and we'll bring up a couple other things here.
Oh, don't even say Donovan. It just makes it worse.
Is that some MLS clubs will be able to pay more to the player than what some European clubs can pay?
None of the guys you've mentioned care about money that much. Pulisic doesn't care about money. Reyna doesn't care about money. No, doesn't matter. Pulisic said he doesn't fucking care about the money. It's about playing at a great club. Reyna says the same thing. McKennie's been quoted saying much the same thing. No, none of these guys are taking Altidore money and coming home because none of them are that big of failures for the first place.
They're not that old either, quite frankly.
No, this isn't Michael Buckley. This isn't Clint Dempsey.
Yeah.
This isn't Altidore. By the way, Clint Dempsey had a great fucking career. Bradley had a decent career in Europe. So they didn't have to come home. They took the money. But I get it. They're nearing their 30s. None of these guys are nearing or in their 30s. None of these guys are near that.
Yeah, nowhere near it. Agreed. So I mean, we have a mix of other people bringing up here. So this is
our friend Kartik. Well, I wouldn't say our friend. I haven't talked to him for years. Have you? Have you conversed with him on Twitterverse? I remember meeting him I remember meeting him in person for the first time at the announcement of Indy 11. The team. You remember him being there? Yeah, because he was at the time one of the marketing assistant directors for NASL. So he was there with his backpack on and his cameras and all that shit.
No, I think I remember the name from that. Yeah, I don't remember.
No, I met him there. I had a long conversation with him. He's a good guy. Seems like a nice guy.
Jesse, I'm going to go ahead and disagree with you here. Bradley did not flop in Europe. He flopped at Aston Villa.
Yes.
That's literally about it. Even at Roma, he got some playing time that was decent, but he also played with what's the other Serie A team right now? I can't think of it right now.
I don't think they're in Serie A anymore.
I don't think so either, but I can't think of what they're called.
But he was called Captain America on that team before he moved to Roma, and he had multiple great seasons as the best player on that team in the Serie A. Prior to that, he had Cable. Thank you. Prior to that, he had mostly good seasons with Mönchengladbach, off and on again with certain coaches. Prior to that, he was at Heerenveen and had great seasons at Heerenveen. So, no, he had a successful European career until, I guess, Aston Villa but he didn't get a chance. He got like a few times he got thrown on the field.
He brought on early for like a half here and there and didn't play well, but then.
No, he didn't. But he never really got a chance to blend in. I don't know if the Premier League would ever have been his thing, but in Germany, in Italy, and Holland, Bradley was just fine and holding his own. Not a regular starter for Roma, but so what? Who expected him to be a regular starter there? But I would disagree with him being a poor European player. People ripped Landon Donovan for what I felt was a reasonable opinion. MLS, no, No, car ticket was not reasonable. MLS needs to take care of American players heading into the World Cup we host. Why? Though Pulisic was still wanted by both Milan and Lyon, so we picked the wrong guy as an example. Okay, so he's going to say mckennie is the example. mckennie, I don't think, has shown a consistency to hang at a top European situation of late. MLS might be a good option. Oh, no, but there are other teams. He doesn't have to play at a top team. He can play at West Ham or Aston Villa. All right, young players hit walls all the time in their careers. As high as I was on him 2 years ago, he's not only hit a wall, but he's regressed. We can place the blame game on this. We can play the blame game on this. I'm not interested in that. Just interested in him being the best situation, jumpstart his career again, and it could be MLS if they're willing to make the financial outlay. They should. I don't think mckennie is anywhere interested in coming to MLS. He's just not. And we can bring 29 on here to confirm that if you'd like. I'm just telling you.
I think it's pretty obvious.
I just don't think it's necessary. Like, if you don't want to believe us, you don't have to believe us.
He grew up a chunk of his life in Germany and went there again at a young age after coming back to the States and going back. He's absolutely going to play the vast majority of his career in Europe.
Yes.
He may not necessarily play for a team like Juve. And the funny thing is he talks about how, like, as high as he was on 2 years ago, he hit a wall or regressed. He was a staple for both Pirlo and Allegri.
Yes.
As a consistent player when healthy. Now, mind you, Pirlo had the issue with COVID and injuries that plagued it, and he had played mckennie all over the fucking place. But whenever mckennie was healthy, he played for both coaches consistently.
Yes.
And I don't take he wasn't like a standout, like A+ guy on the pitch by any means. But then again, most of Juve wasn't.
Right.
But that's regardless. His only time that's been what I would chalk up to be kind of a failure would be his time at Leeds.
Yeah. This is not a player at risk of playing for Lask in Austria. Okay. This is a player who will either go to Aston Villa or some team like West Ham, or he'll go back to the Bundesliga and play for a mid-table team. But I don't think he's leaving Europe. I think that would, for him personally, he would see that as a failure. He would see that as capitulation. He would see that as giving up on his career. And he's too young to do that. He's too young. He's not Bradley. He's not Dempsey. He's not a washed up out the door in Europe. He doesn't need to do that.
No.
All right. Diego29 was on Tax Stream last night, and he said he would not go to MLS. Well, we were just telling you, we know that from Diego as well. We had personal conversations with him as well as on-air conversations with him. And no, it ain't happening, folks. He ain't leaving, and he ain't coming to MLS. And I don't care who doesn't want to believe us, because we're more inside and we know more of what's going on with mckennie's day-to-day life because of who we know than most of these fuckers who were disrespectful to Diego and 29 and said, oh, he doesn't know him anyhow. He's a big fucking fake-ass bitch and all that other shit they said about Diego. Well, turns out he is one of his best friends. Whoa, what did you know? Yeah, so yeah, that's what you get for being a dick to a guy that you basically called a fake. And most of the fucking U.S. soccer media didn't want anything to do with Diego. Nothing. And they still don't for the most part. The only people that use him are the European media use him quite a bit in interviews.
Oddly enough, yeah.
Because they don't have to get on their fucking knees and suck U.S. soccer cock, right? So they're not worried about it. But most of the people that do reporting in the United States through U.S. outlets have to get on their knees and at least cup the balls and fondle them while stroking. All right. But they don't have to do that in Europe. So they're not have any problem interviewing Diego in Europe. He just is not going to be interviewed here or contacted or ask any questions or brought on any big shows. All right. I mean,
Well,
Herc, I think Herc's talked about having him on their show.
Yeah,
but
Diego talked about how him and Herc are going to have like a regular type segment or whatever. I don't know how regular, but like maybe like once a month or every couple months or whatever. But he is going to go on to Herc's show. So
yeah. So there are some people who aren't scared to bring on Diego, right? Mm-hmm. And it's the usual guys, Seb, Herc. The rest of them are chicken shits. And or they're too big for their fucking own britches, so they would never talk to a guy like Diego. Lawless. All right, move on.
Chambers says, seems like interest with Wes has fallen a bit. It's possible. I mean, that 22 to 30 million price tag that Juve is holding over his head.
It's too big.
Is definitely not garnering the interest that he needs.
It's
there are
too
plenty
big.
of teams that are interested. It's just whether or not they can get him for the right price.
Yeah.
And I think Juve is asking for too much. Now, Diego's mentioned a number of times that Wes is at Juve until the end of the 2025 season. So he's got 2 more seasons left. And if Juve wastes an entire season here because they're throwing up such a high price tag, they're either going to have to loan him out again, or they're going to have to bite the bullet and take a lesser price.
Even worse is the fact that they've isolated him practice, because that brings down his value. If they would have him practice with the first team, as in, hey, we know we plan to play him, then there might be teams going, they still value him. But no, they're just, Juventus is flying a white flag and saying, hey, anybody want him? Who wants this guy? Who wants this dude? We want to sell this dude. That's not how you operate. That's bad salesmanship. Anyhow, next. Kartik, you're wrong. Sorry, brother.
Let's see here. Is this gonna
That
be
was
one?
not reasonable. Brian Quarstad, been around a while.
So this is in reference to I believe this is in reference to the tweet I just had pulled up here.
Yeah, I love these general things that people say. Agreed. He's really shown me nothing at the club level that last several years. Then you're not watching. You haven't been watching. If you're saying several years, that's more than 1 year, right, Brett? That's like 2 or 3 years. Then he's not paying attention. He's not been catching the games. He's not been watching the games. He's not blowing anybody's dick off. McKennie's not rocking the universe, but he's been a fucking fairly serviceable player for Juventus.
Yep.
Not great.
That's
not
the best way to describe it.
good.
Yeah, we're not hyping his performances up.
No.
We're simply saying that he's a serviceable player in that midfield, and definitely wasn't the issue.
He's
As
had
much as
moments too.
Even the bad games that he had for Leeds, he wasn't the problem for Leeds. There were so many other issues.
Absolutely.
And people wanted to just lump on that because they didn't like Diego, for that matter. And they're like, well, he's fat and he's no good, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, are you really watching him play? Yeah, he had a bad game, but how many other players on that pitch had a bad game that game, you know?
About all of them.
All of them.
Yeah. That doesn't excuse him having one.
Hold on, that's 27. I got you covered. My bad.
$1.99 for your thoughts. Thoughts on MLS versus the Saudi League. I think it's a joke. It's a fucking joke. There's no way the Saudi League is even anywhere near. There's no way you put 1 or 2 players on every team that are world class. That doesn't stop the rest of the Saudi League from being below average and very average and below average at best.
Yeah.
It's the league is mostly domestic players.
Quite frankly, you are looking at a league that's just burning through cash. And I'm not sure what their overall end game is. Let's just say the Saudi League takes off. What is their overall appeal? What's their overall appeal? Just like MLS. If MLS takes off, what's the overall appeal? That they can compete.
It's not going to take off, Brett.
Champions League. It's not there. Europe is always going to have a higher realm over all these other leagues. Saudi can flood the league as much money as they want. It won't matter.
They don't. Nobody has TV rights that anybody can watch the Saudi League anyhow. You might as well be playing in a black fucking hole because a vacuum, because nobody can watch your games. Nobody's really interested in watching your games anyhow. Most of the Saudi League is domestic Saudi players. When's the last time Saudi Arabia was a dominant force even in Asia? Can't remember. I know they've had good teams way in the past, or decent teams. I know they've made a World Cup before, somewhere of that. But Tack thinks the Saudi League is better. Well, we're just going to have to disagree. I don't know what the fuck Tack's thinking. You cannot put 2 excellent players on every team and say, well, that makes them better. I'm sorry, it doesn't. You still got a team full of domestic Saudi players. And if you're telling me the domestic Saudi players are better than the players that we have domestically, Canadians, Americans, and you can count Mexican players or any
Costa
CONCACAF
Rican,
player.
Panamanian.
We got players from
CONCACAF,
Argentina, South America too.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. That's not how this works. And yes, I mean,
What was the biggest transfer out of Saudi Arabia?
it doesn't really matter, right? There's never been a Saudi player that played at Barcelona, Juve, Man City, Manchester United, Dortmund. You keep listing out the teams. No Saudi players ever played, as far as I understand, on any top team in any top 5 league. No Chelsea, no whatever. Name it. You name me one if they have. I haven't seen it. So
I'm gonna go ahead and speak for Derek in this situation too. But we're not saying MLS is devoid of faults.
We're not.
We're not saying they're a great league. They're not. So,
but even I'm going to stand up and defend MLS here. Sorry, this is where I put my foot down. The Saudi league is not better than fucking MLS. That's jackassery to say that. Sorry, and I'm sorry, Tack. I didn't mean to call you a jackass. I'm just saying the comment itself makes no fucking sense. And in a debate, you would lose to me. It'd be fun to have, though. You know? Yeah, it'd be fun to have.
Yeah.
So I'd like to know if he was just kidding, though, because sometimes
he likes to piss off MLS fans.
He kids sometimes.
Maybe that's what it was. And somebody else brought that up. Yeah. He's like, he likes to piss off MLS fans.
Yeah, I think he's kidding. I don't think he really believes the Saudi league is better than MLS. You can't, like I said, you can't put 2 world-class players on a team and then have the rest of the team be total garbage Saudi players and expect that team to be any good whatsoever. That's just not how this works. At least MLS is full of players from South America and full of players that play on national teams throughout Central, South America, and North America.
Well, and that's also not to say that there aren't, say, Saudi teams that aren't competitive by any means. There may be a couple of teams at the very top of the league that are very competitive because they got basically the top 30 or so Saudi players playing for their team.
Yeah,
whereas MLS, it's very, parity is a thing. It's all spread out. If they got rid of parity today, then you would have New York and one of the New York teams. You'd have the Inter Miami's. You'd have the LA teams all like flooding their teams with the Seattle, top local prospects.
Whoever has the biggest billionaire owner. Yes,
basically, yeah. So, yeah, that's not to say that there isn't any good Saudi teams, but it is
not saying there's no good.
The league as a whole.
Yeah, the league as a whole is not better than MLS. I'm sorry, no, incorrect.
I mean, fuck, we have a conversation almost on a weekly basis when talking about players that are actually playing in Europe. We're like, oh, Mark McKenzie's doing well, and Genk. Is Belgium really that much better than MLS?
No,
is Holland really that much better than MLS? Then why is it so out of the ordinary for people to say like, no, I think MLS is better than Saudi Arabia? So
I mean, that's crazy talk. I mean, I think that there's some good teams in Belgium. Holland is heavily weighted on the top with Feyenoord and Ajax. I mean, PSV, who didn't have the greatest season either, but I'm talking about generally, Holland is heavily weighted towards the top. And so we don't have that problem in MLS. Obviously, we got first place teams beating 11th place teams beating first place teams all the time, or second place teams losing to 16th place teams. It happens all the time. Not so much in Holland. Flo, on if he wants to play in MLS one day. I mean, yeah, I'm still quite young, but I'm sure that my focus for now is in Europe. I'm trying to do the best I can. I'm sure you never know what could happen in football. I'm sure in my career or towards the end. I'm sure.
Yeah, towards the end.
Yeah, I mean that's a silly question to ask a guy who's like is still a teenager.
Yeah.
What? I mean, who's asking him this stupid question?
Any interest of coming to MLS? No, not right now. No. Why?
Well, no. The question was one day.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, one day what do you want me to predict 20 years from now, 15 years from now? What a joke. What a joke. What a stupid question.
Yeah. Why in the world would you – I'm assuming this may have been the person who asked. freelance MLS writer.
Oh, well, that fucking, yeah.
But why? Why would you ever ask? Because you know exactly the answer you're going to get.
Gonna get the standard
one day maybe
answer.
we'll see what happens. I feel like I'm young enough and I'm good enough. I'm gonna continue pressing for the top leagues. Blah blah.
What do you expect him to say? Fuck no. Fuck that league. That league fucking sucks, man. Fuck MLS. I'd never fucking play in that shitty ass league. Fuck them in the asshole and fuck it. Fuck you for asking the question, too, you stupid bitch, Fabienne. Is that your name, Fabienne? Fabienne Rankle? Rankle? Mr. Rankle? I'm sorry. You're a dumbass for asking me that question. Yeah, I mean, what do you want him to say? He's going to give you the standard BS answer.
But this is the thing. You're seeing MLS pundit after MLS pundit coming out and saying, like, insert random really good player that's super young should probably come to MLS before insert random international tournament, because that way they can be the best form that they can possibly be, right?
It's getting old hearing those fucking arguments. The sociopath for $2, Thomas Christensen or Greg, for what? Like, what's the competition? As like the worst, like, because I would say Thomas Christensen did a really good job for Panama. I thought they competed pretty close with Mexico last night. As long as that's the Thomas Christensen he's talking about, because I know 3 others. Two former players.
We're sitting here talking about Hugo Perez as a more viable option than Greg. And he coaches at a significantly less team than Panama.
I mean, you could put French fried steak or Greg, and we'd probably hit the FFS before we hit the Greg. I mean, listen, it's not personal. I just we've had Greg, and it just wasn't that good. It just wasn't that good. It's like that girl you go out and date. You date her once, twice, 3. You have like 8 or 9 dates, right? Maybe 12 dates. And then, you hooked up on at least 4 or 5 of them at the end. But after the first 3, you're thinking, I don't know about this, man. That fucking action is not good. And then you're like, the next 2 dates, you're like, this shit, I hope this gets better. Because if it doesn't, she's kind of like a dead fish. I think I'm going to be done with this. I don't know if you've ever had a dead fish. I've had one in my whole life. Thank God. Great person. But just must have grown up in a non-expressive. As a non-expressive person.
I'm gonna lay my back and you just do your thing.
Yeah, really weird. Like, hey, babe, don't you want to get into this action? Really like kisses like a fish, just unnatural. Kind of like what the most unskilled player on your soccer team in 5th grade, where they shouldn't be playing any sports. They're lucky to be running and staying, vertical.
There's a scene in the Forgetting Sarah Marshall where Jason Segel is just Segel.
I think so.
I think it's who it is. Where he's getting over his ex and he's dating other girls and he's having sex with this black chick, and she goes, I just came. That's the thought process. You're just like, oh, okay, cool.
No, that'd be more action than this chick I was talking about. She's just a total wouldn't even know what coming was about. Now, granted, I was probably 20 and she was like 17, so that probably played a role. Like, this might have been her first thing, and I tried my best to. But I mean, what are you going to tell a girl? Now, listen. See, what you need to do when we have this thing, when we get together, is you need to do this, A, B, C, and D. I told her like A and B, but then that didn't really, I don't know how, you can't be offensive and say, listen, baby, I need you to act more like a slut. I mean, you need more slutty because you need to get out there and be more active and take, hey, I really
start handing her videos to watch and start taking notes.
Yeah. I could have played some porn for her. It's obvious to me that she was like very prissy, high-end caramel girl, by the way, tennis player who just didn't know anything about the regular world. like how regular people acted, how sex, what that was all about. Like I tried my
I don't
best.
know, man. You know, those people, the people with money, man, generally tend to be the sluttiest and the people who do the most drugs.
Yeah, you would
Out there.
think, but it was pretty obvious she grew up in a very sheltered like lifestyle. She was not like the most popular. She's very beautiful, but very homely as far as mentally homely. Anyhow, Diego, 29, the real one, right? Is this a real one?
Single quotes and all, yeah.
Reyna talk. Reyna talk.
We're gonna get there. I know we're an hour and a half in, but we're gonna definitely get there with the broken U.S. men's national team relationship.
Yeah, the broken ass relationships. You did say relationship should have had an S on it in the but anyway, that's just me being, the English major that I am. Going, damn, Brett left the S off that bitch. Anyhow. Yeah, you did.
Yes, there is an S in the one you see me, right?
It's
the
more than one
with USSF. Yeah, it's broken with USSF, not the actual players. That's the bait and switch, guys. I got you here. All 109 of you thought that we were going to talk about his broken relationship with USSF. Suckers.
No, that relationship couldn't be any better. Greg gets regular reach arounds every morning from fucking Michael Cameraman and who's the other guy that runs it? Who's the prez? Forgot his name. Anyhow,
you mean the guy?
Yeah, the guy who says, "Frankly, I think they're offensive." On our
who's got
intro.
the name for the guy? I'm spacing his name right now.
I forgot the guy's name. No, let me do it better. It sounds like Butthead from Beavis and Butthead.
I haven't heard anything from him recently. Is he still having stuttering issues?
I don't think he's been on live. I haven't seen him. All right, let's move on to Balogun, I guess.
All right. I'm looking up Diego's tweet. Diego, do you want to just tag me or send it to me in a DM? Because I don't want to dig through your shit to find it. He's going to send me some Geo stuff.
Okay.
Okay. Let's listen to some Balogun. This is during the same interview, I imagine. But
okay.
Talk us through the hair. Did Gio get in your ear and convince you to change it?
You know what? I actually said to the boys after we won the Nations League that I'll dye my hair. And they didn't believe me. And obviously, me coming back to the States, it was going to be a good time to do it. It was just like something spontaneous. But Gio and Joe Scally definitely had a part to play in it.
Gio and Joe Scally are responsible for this orange mop.
Yeah, what did he say? They're spontaneous guys. Yeah, that's good. Batson is the answer, John Reck. You get bone.
JT
Batson. Yeah. The JT stands for Jackass Tool. If you didn't know, that's what it stands for. All right, what else? What's next? While you're searching for the 29 stuff that he's sending you.
Pull that up and then pull that up. There we go. I got it pulled up already.
Okay.
That takes us just to the last thing I got to say about the Gold Cup before we branch off into Mexico, and then we'll talk about the broken relationships and everything.
Right.
You see how I added that S there?
You did. That was well done.
I tried. I try. I try to correct my mistakes.
Because it was plural. Yeah.
We got a nice little tweet here.
Oh yeah.
Pulling the mask off of VJ and happening to find Gregg Berhalter with some kind of like squished head.
Yeah, it looks like somebody took a bite out of his head.
It looks like his mom, as an infant, just pushed it in and used it as an ashtray.
Looks like a lobotomy happened there.
Seriously, just like chop off quarter of his head.
This is like a really horrible cut and paste job. That's funny.
Hey, you know what? I dig it. I dig the quality of the meme. Mm-hmm. Doesn't have to be perfect. It has to make its point, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, I mean, I guess what they're saying is in that last two games with Canada and Panama,
we saw a lot of it. We saw a lot of it throughout the entire Gold Cup.
No, the Gold Cup was
just games.
It was garbage, but
we played weak opposition, and it looked good because we beat them 6-0. But it was still a lot.
Once we played anybody with an ounce of ability, Yeah, we looked like the old Gregg teams. It was bad. Except the old Gregg team would have won 1-0. And this team, I don't like. People were like, "Oh yeah, well this was better than the 2021 team." Was it really? Because we had Gio Caccini on that team. We had Matthew Hoppe, and those kids were fucking burning. They were raring to go.
A young Eric Williamson.
Eric Williamson was great. Yeah, we were missing all three of those guys and
still
others.
Had young James Sands. We still had Busio.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. It wasn't great. I don't know if I would call. Yes, I would call what I watched against Panama and Canada Berhalter ball. I would. So in that case, that makes sense. Hey, Brett Oppenheim, brother. Friend of the show, we are so happy to see you. We're happy you showed up. We're happy you're donating 10 million. I mean $10,000. $10. I was going to make it more. Like 10 million. That would be awesome if you did that. But hey, we'll take what you give us, Brett. And we appreciate it.
Awesome regardless. Glad to see you on here, man.
And Brett loves your name. Brett. Meet Brett.
I think that's why he's following our shows, because of me. You're welcome.
Yeah. No, let's read it. What up, fellas? I heard 29 gave me a shout out on your show. I do love your show. It's 5 in Mykonos right now, 5 a.m. Holy shit. Just got back from the clubs, listening till I fall asleep. Well, hopefully we don't put you to sleep too early, although we are an hour and 36 minutes in.
We are nearing the end, yeah.
we're nearing the end. This is one of those shows where we did a lot of filler because there isn't a lot going on. The Women's World Cup hasn't even started, and we'll probably cover some of that. Not a lot. We're waiting for the Oman and the friendlies coming up, where Gregg takes the strings back and takes power.
The team again, yeah.
Yeah. So
that. Let's grind out that 1-0 victory against Oman and Uzbekistan.
Oh yeah. I mean, we're really picking some tough teams for those friendlies. Woo! Hey, but it was great to find out from 29 that we had some billionaire friends out there. Even though we haven't always said the nicest things about billionaires on this show, you, my friend, are one of the good ones. And we appreciate you for supporting us. So I'll take your...
The millionaires or billionaires that we talk about actually live in Canada, and you just don't know them because you've never seen them before, met them before. So
no, yeah, Canada, yeah.
But anyhow... Does she live in Canada?
No. Anyhow, I'll take Brett's cock out of my mouth, and we'll get on to the next topic. Not your cock, Brett.
Thank you. I appreciate you emphasizing whose cock we're talking about.
No, seriously, in all niceness, it was cool to find out that you watched the show and that 29 ran into you.
Came out of fucking left field, man.
It did. We did not see it coming. I mean, we didn't know that was happening. So it was cool to see.
All right. Well, let's branch away from all that. You want to talk about Mexico versus Panama a bit?
Yeah, let's do it.
We'll jump into the U.S. men's national team.
Yes. So Mexico, Panama. Did you get to watch it?
I did.
All right. I thought Panama put up a really good fight there, and I thought that Mexico looks lost to me right now. Lost or nervous as shit. Because even though I think in the end you could say, okay, yeah, they probably deserve to win. There were opportunities for Panama in that game that they just didn't take. What does this say about Panama's A team and Mexico's A team? It says they've got a lot of work to do to catch up to our A team. They're better than our C team. I'll give them both that. But we ain't playing our C team at the World Cup or anywhere else of significance, Copa America, etc. So, I mean, what it says to me is Mexico's got, I mean, this is still the most disheveled, disorganized Mexican team I can remember in a long time, that they had this much difficulty beating what I think is a pretty okay to better than okay Panama team. And Panama looked pretty good.
Well, I mean, and Mexico had home field advantage.
Yes. Oh God, yes.
100%. So, I mean, it was one of those things where, like, you're watching and you could see throughout the match, Panama had their chances, but as a whole, especially as the match progressed, you're just sitting there going, like, Mexico put something away eventually. It's going to happen. They had that one goal that got called back for offside. And they did well getting the ball down the field in true Mexican fashion, where they possess, they move the ball down the field, and then don't amount to much in or around the box. And then all of a sudden, Panama goes on the counter. They have an opportunity. Mexico gets the ball back, etc. And it's back and forth. It was an entertaining game to watch.
It was entertaining. I will give it that versus USA versus Panama, which was a struggle to watch. Honestly, it really was.
Well, that's because we have ties to the US. So at that point, when we see the U.S. team struggling, we're sitting there going like, "Oh my God, this."
Yeah, it's painful to watch. It is. I will say this: at least Santiago Jimenez came on for Mexico and bossed it. He bossed that. That goal was all fucking him, and that's a good sign for the future for Mexico. Listen, I know Henry Martin is a great player. He's fabulous, and I know he started most of the games in this World Cup for them. And he did damage. But isn't Santiago Jimenez the future for Mexico? I think he is.
Yes.
And,
I forgot, maybe it was Herc that posted it. He said Santiago is not the future, he's the present.
He is the present. I think he proved it. I think he did. So I don't have much more on that game because I'm not a fan of Mexico and I'm not a fan of Panama. I did watch the game because I wanted to see it conclude. I think most of the halftime stuff for Fox was about the Women's World Cup, which is coming up, which is fine, I guess. What are we going to do? Sit around some more and bash the U.S. team that just lost? Because that's what they did once they lost. They're like, fuck it. I mean, it's not that good of a team anyhow. I mean, it took them the whole week to say it.
Changed there, Derek.
Yeah, they did change their tune real fast.
On Twitter that were like, Why are we on a Mexico-Panama game talking about the U.S. women's in the Women's World Cup? And Lawless responded by simply saying, well, it's to draw more views to Fox for the upcoming tournament.
Well, at least he's not lying.
Yeah, he's telling the truth there.
I like it when Lawless doesn't fib. My dad, I brought up the discussion with him about our 500,000 or whatever it is views on my rant. I brought up to him what it was, and he said, well, maybe Lawless is not allowed to say that live on air that this isn't our A team or this isn't our even a B team. I said, yeah, I think so, but then he did say it many times. Whether you think this is our A team or our B team or our C team, my point is for Lawless is though, those people running the show for Fox Soccer need to understand about 60 to 70% of the people watching are casual fucking fans. Maybe it's 50%, but even if it's 50-50, they need to run the show like if half the audience is here and doesn't know why Pulisic isn't playing, doesn't understand that McKennie didn't make the team. They need to make it clear. If you don't provide that context, you just have a lot of fucking people texting me. And I'm fucking sick of that shit because I shouldn't have to explain it to them because they're casual fans. The show should be set up where 50% of the commentary is to provide context for the casual fan. The other 50% can get deeper and more detailed for the more experienced fan. But the show's got to be for everybody. It can't just be because if you're covering up, all the experienced fans are like, you're covering this shit up. Why are you covering this up? Why are you lying to the audience? And then the other 50% are like, wow, our team sucks. Look how bad we are. And why are we this bad? Derek told me this is a good team. Or Brett said this is a really good team. Yeah. It's pisses me off. So anyhow, Brett Oppenheim says for $10, all right. I think Brett will meet you halfway. He will get on a plane.
So I'll bite the other, whatever it is, going to be like $600.
Yeah. He's not. He's getting near, but $20 total. Thank you, Brett. We really do appreciate it, honestly.
100%.
I'm about as much of a billionaire as Derek is sober. I mean, I think he was saying if we put both of the Oppenheimer brothers together, are you billionaires? I think that was what was said. But maybe that's not true either. But you know what? I am sober right now. I'm not like sober, but I mean, it's the point of the show, right? We drink during the show. But I get what you're saying, Brett. Thank you.
Diego goes, Brett don't want the IRS to come from him. I apologize. He's not a billionaire.
A billionaire. Break that shit off. Yeah.
So I mean, as a whole, congratulations to Mexico for winning their ninth Gold Cup. The issue I've got obviously is that and the Mexican fans cheering and rooting it on, by all means, that's your right to do as a fan. You're fine to do so.
They didn't say the P word.
No, and 100%. That's step in the right direction.
That's good.
But I mean, when you start saying like, oh, USA has 7, we have 9. We're the kings of CONCACAF. And I'm sitting there going like,
no, you're not. No, you're not.
There's a guy that compared our trophies, Mexico versus USA, and my response was the gift from Napoleon Dynamite, where Uncle Rico's like, man, back in '83, I used to throw a ball a quarter mile.
I remember that, yeah. But here's the thing that frustrated me, and this is one more shot at John Strong. John Strong, I'm sorry, dude. You need to reevaluate what you're doing when you're calling these games. He said near the end of the game, I think this was him. If it wasn't, sorry for the stray. He said, and I quote,
one of the two.
You feel the tide shifting because of the performance of Panama and whatever Caribbean nation, Jamaica. He says, you feel the tide shifting for Central and Caribbean nations based on this tournament. No, you don't. This tournament doesn't mean dick. We're not there. Our team did not show up. This does not show. Jamaica should have done better than they did. They should have performed better than they did. Panama did fine, but they wouldn't have beat our A team. No way in hell. So this doesn't show any shift at all. You cannot use this tournament to show any shifts. You can even look to show shifts, but not shifts.
Even look at Canada, who brought more or less a B squad.
Yes,
I wouldn't classify it as a C squad because I don't think Canada necessarily has a depth for a C squad.
Right, it's a B team.
It was B team. So I mean, you're still looking at two teams that made it moving forward, quarters and semis at that point, that brought a fraction of a team. Basically, looking at that squad and seeing maybe one of the, obviously ignoring Turner, maybe one of those players cracking the A squad or participating with the A squad.
Yeah.
But that's neither here nor there. So
right. Jacob Ramirez and I might have missed this because I didn't catch all pregame. So if you have a clip, please do share. For $4.99, Lala said in the pregame that Fox has the best coverage of soccer. He kind of alluded to your rant while saying it too. I don't know if there's a clip of it. I would love to see it because I was told there would be some sort of comment made like that. Not necessarily they were going to name me out or anything like that.
Huge. We're huge. It's the best coverage ever.
But I was alerted to the fact that something would happen. I just didn't show up early enough on was it Sunday night to get to the pregame early enough. I missed like a big chunk of the beginning of it. So I missed that. I was told some comment like that would be made, and it was made apparently, and I missed it. But I will say this, Fox coverage has the most coverage of soccer right now. The most coverage is certainly not the best. It is nowhere near the best. Nowhere, not contextual, doesn't provide information to a casual fan, provides under information to the fan that's an experienced fan. They're thinking, can you please talk about some things specifically here that we all know together because we're all experienced and we know what's going on? Can you talk about that? But for the casual fan, got totally fucked in the asshole in this coverage. And if they don't realize that, then they're just dopes. They're just dope.
Well, and the sad thing about all this is if they want to address, say, the viral video, Lawless has his own podcast. He has a Twitter handle. He can address it. He doesn't have to passively, aggressively address it. And that's the problem with most content going back and forth is that there's a subtle passive aggressiveness that it's almost ambiguous. That you're sitting there, and this is the same issue that we had with the jabronis of YouTube, which we are.
I don't think that Jake meant us.
No, I know Jake didn't mean us. I'm stealing it though. That's something that I want to take for us. We're the jabronis.
Okay, we're already the Beavis and Butthead of soccer.
Seriously, yeah. So, but I'm just like, there's no reason to be ambiguous as far as when addressing a situation. Just say, hey, there were these jackasses on YouTube. They said this, which isn't accurate at all. Just say it. Come on.
No, but I mean, I would like them to know that how many people in the soccer industry and the soccer world and people who are past professionals and all of whom let us know and through one person or another that they appreciated what we said that day.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, you got that many people saying, hell yeah, exactly. This coverage is garbage. So if you want to continue to believe your coverage is great, fine, Lawless. Don't look in the mirror. Fine, Fox Soccer. Don't look in the mirror. Don't fix your fucking broke ass coverage. Because frankly, most people that watched it, even mostly casual fans, were totally confused by what they were watching and who they were watching. And you didn't provide any context for them. So they're just like, wow, Pulisic's no longer on the U.S. men's national team. That's weird. Did he get cut?
The guys
What's going on here?
Literally a week ago aren't on this squad.
Yeah, I just watched this great team a week ago play. Now I'm watching this team. What the fuck's going on? Like, where's all the guys from the other team? Never, ever brought up. Never even, just sniffed it.
Yeah.
Just a sprinkle hint at what happened. That's it. And then this well, you can call this the A team or the B team or the C team. Fuck you, dude. You know this is the C team. Don't bring that fucking bullshit. Don't bring that bullshit online.
You can address the situation without necessarily bagging on people.
Yeah, you don't have to bag on them.
Hey, this is a completely different squad. We're looking at maybe reserves
exactly
compared to our A squad, but it's still a very competitive squad. We're still going to move forward in the tournament. Let's see what they can do and see who can move forward into the A squad.
And there wasn't enough of that.
When it's A squad, just say who's going to compete for a spot in 2026. Why not just say that?
And there wasn't enough of that with Stu and John Strong, because a lot of people don't watch the pregame, so they're in the game. They're just there for the game, and those two motherfuckers didn't bring up shit. They barely talked. They barely even sniffed that issue. They didn't say, well, it's nice to see Cade Cal here from the U20 team. This is a really big opportunity for him.
Yeah.
He's not really an A-team guy. Maybe this is a chance for him to get into the A-team. Let's see what he can. None of that. No context provided. Why don't we just live in a fucking vacuum and you guys play the goddamn fucking games and no one will fucking know anything? Because that's what happened during your coverage. Nobody who watched it knew shit. They were just confused as fuck. So if you think that's good coverage,
yeah,
congratulations.
Again, Jacob, thanks for the 5. Speaking of people who are confused why players weren't involved.
As to why Gio Reyna didn't make the Gold Cup team. Is he not that good? I got the same shit, Brett. I got the same shit. I got texts from people, my brother, 2 friends, my mom. They're all just like, what's going on here? That's why we need to provide context if you're a show. You don't have to say this team sucks or it's awful, but you need to tell people why Pulisic isn't there, why McKennie is, why the best players outside of Turner aren't on this team. And if you think you're providing good coverage when you're not telling people that, then you're wrong. Your coverage sucks, Lawless. It sucked. I'm sorry. It was bad, poor, until you all sat there after we lost to fucking Panama and sulked and talking about, it's not that great of a team anyhow. Oh, yeah, you tell us at the end. Now you tell us. Now you're all bummed out and depressed. At least Maurice didn't play that game the whole time.
Yeah.
But Maurice didn't give us the whole story either. So
the tone changed going into the Panama match, and we didn't hear once about Ferreira's double hat trick, right?
yeah, all of a sudden, when we're going into the Panama match, Murray Sadu, I think it was like, yeah, we're really underdogs going into this. I'm like, what? What did you just say? We're underdogs going against this game. Like, that could have been the theme the whole fucking time. Us winning this tournament, we were underdogs going into this because we were playing not our best team.
Yeah.
And there's no problem. There's something immoral about saying that to your audience. I don't know. Anyhow, maybe I'm asking too much. I like how Brett goes on to saying, just messing, trying to get another rant at you, Derek. Well, he succeeded. Yeah. Oh, shit. Yeah.
I don't know. It's one of those things, like, again, Hurt got absolutely, I wouldn't say destroyed because he wasn't destroyed by any means, but he got harped on hardcore for simply stating an opinion of, well, maybe this should have just been us sending a U20, U23 squad.
Yeah.
Instead of sending the squad we did, why not send a squad that's going to be competing for the Olympics here in a year, give them some experience at a high level, so that way when we come, to the Olympics, they're going to be that much better off, And you wouldn't have Craig bitching about how the other center back's ass, right?
Right. I mean, listen, if you had done that, more than likely, there is a chance we wouldn't have got out of group stage. There is a chance we wouldn't have got out of group stage. Small. It's
very, very small. We could have sent you 17 squad. I think we still would have made it out of the group stage.
Probably, but yeah. I mean, you would have had very little hope of getting out of the next step.
Fair enough. I think the U17s absolutely would have lost to Canada B.
Well, I think U20s would have too. I think they would have. Because I really am not bought into all the U20s like some other people. I think there's some talent on that team. But
there's a level of creativity on that squad that we just absolutely missed.
I mean, unless you bring Paxton Aronson or you bring like everybody that's free. But yeah, I don't know if that's the answer. I don't know if that's the answer. But I do know one thing. There were a lot of MLS coming uppers that were left off the team. That we're starting to see some good things from, like Ben Bender at Charlotte. He's had a couple.
We talked about Buck. We talked about Gutierrez.
Yep. Duncan McGuire at Orlando's looking really good. I mean, there are other kids you could play. You don't have to pick the same old dudes. We know what Roldan and Morris bring.
Seriously.
I think in Seattle. Tuberculosis says for $5, CBS has the best coverage IMO. I would agree with that. I think that's because Davies is a fucking loose ass cannon. You never know what he's going to say.
We got Dempsey. You got Gooch was on there for a bit,
for a while.
That participated.
Yep.
I mean that was a killer squad, man. When they were doing that, when they were doing the away matches for CONCACAF World Cup qualifying. I think that was some of the best coverage.
Can you imagine pulling Dempsey aside saying, hey, listen, dude, here's some things you can't say. He'd be like, get the fuck out of my face, motherfucker. I'll say whatever the fuck I want.
Like, yeah, sure thing, buddy.
Yeah, right, asshole. Yeah. You're not going to tell him what to say. You're not going to tell Davies what to say. Davies says erratic shit, so you never know what's coming out of his mouth. And I like Charlie, but, he's scattergun.
He's like 50-50 for me as far as stuff I agree with and stuff I don't agree with.
Well, one day I'll agree with him, and the next day he'll totally change his whole thing.
Yeah.
So,
we saw it with PFOC, right? PFOC can't dribble to save his life. He's like the best option we got available to us, guys.
He's a one-trick pony or whatever he said. Yeah, and then he's like, well, no, he's the best guy we have. It was like a week later. So, it's just, or the day after, practically. So you never know, but you're not going to put any sort of chains on those guys. You're not going to, censor them. You're not going to tell Clint Dempsey he can't say shit before he goes on a show because he'll tell you to go suck his cock. Whereas Lawless is like, well, I want my job here in Fox. So whatever you guys need.
Hopefully nobody clips that bit.
Yeah. Diego Mendoza, our friend. Thank you, Diego.
We're bouncing into the broken relationships now.
Okay, a team will be called up for both. So we're moving on to broken relationships. Broken relationships.
Take these broken wings.
All right, so that's the theme song for this. A team will be called up for both. Most Nations League players have already been told the plans and expect to be there. And this is response to U.S. men's national team truther. You know, if the October friendlies are going to be an A squad, they're going to play in September and October. A team.
That's right. We have the October friendlies against Germany and who else was it? Is it Spain?
That would be great if it was Spain. I don't know.
It's Germany and somebody, if I recall correctly. Somebody's gonna have it in the chat, I'm sure. But yeah, obviously the September friendlies,
Oman
and Uzbekistan. And he's basically saying there's going to be a team for both. So again, we're going to look at a Nations League and Gold Cup type of thing. It's Ghana, so everybody's saying Ghana.
Okay, yeah, those are good games. Ghana. So is he saying a team? Listen, Brett. Listen to what I'm saying. I want you to put quotations around the letter A here at the beginning of what he is saying.
Single or double?
Double. A team will be called up for both. That's what he's saying. Not a team will.
Oh, I get you.
A team will.
I get you. Okay.
So,
no, you're right.
Yeah,
I misread that.
Yeah. It's big boys for both.
Yep.
It's the big boys for both.
100%, no doubt, should be that way because I feel like between Gold Cup and Camp Cupcake, the BC squad has enough time to play with each other.
Oh, for Christ's sake, Brett, I can never get enough of watching Christian fucking roll down. Fucking whiff a fucking easy finish. Please bring him back so we have more entertainment.
Hallelujah.
Amen. All right. This is uncertain.
Average Sounders fan says, but will Gio be there?
That is uncertain for the Reyna camp at the moment. Hopefully the relationship is mended soon to some degree. Oh, there's got to be some reaching out. Here we get into the part of the show that we advertise, which is, so right now you can understand that there is an extreme discomfort, is a very mild word to use here, between the Reyna family and Gregg Berhalter.
Whoa.
Brett Berhalter.
Brett, no.
So,
well, and as I mentioned in our thumbnail, I mean, that Gregg is going to be bringing everybody in for couples therapy. That the therapist there will actually pull out a doll and ask Gio where Gregg touched him.
Oh God, that's gross. But something needs to be done. I don't know what you do in this situation. I think it's a very uncomfortable situation. I don't believe that Gregg has fucking Gio's phone number anymore, or if he does, he's certainly been blocked at this point. So
I want to go out on a limb. I may be wrong. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that Gregg was probably doing the right thing, not reaching out to Gio at this point, because he got announced.
So you're saying he still hasn't reached out to him, in your belief?
As far as we know.
As far as I know.
What Diego had mentioned. And things could have changed. It's very possibly could have. But ultimately, let's just say he hasn't reached out to Gio. I think it's perfectly acceptable because Gio went from Nations League, where he was playing against Mexico and Canada and had to have his mind in tune, to being with his family and recovering from an injury before going back to Dortmund.
Sure. Yep.
And I'm fine with Gregg not reaching out during that time period because that's got to be the most awkward thing for him to have to do is to reach out to him while he's with his family. But once he's back at Dortmund, that should be the very first thing that he does is try to mend that fence. Say, hey, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have brought that story up in the symposium. That's my bad. We should have had this all cleared out. This should have all been taken care of in Qatar. And I want to move forward.
So here's what I hear. How this is going to be mended. It's going to be mended face to face. So what Gregg is going to do in the next few months, or the next, is it month? I can't remember what I was told now. Shit. But I think it's the next month and a half. Gregg is going to Dortmund. He's going to Germany anyhow, because he's going to be watching a bunch of players. And
sure. Germany, Italy, that's where you're going to go now at this point.
Right. He's going to Europe for a trip. And during that trip, he's going to try to set up a face-to-face meeting, lunch or dinner, I'm not sure which, and at a sit-down with Reyna to have a man-to-man with one of the assistant coaches that they both trust being there.
It's BJ at this point then, because Hudson's already gone.
Right. And I believe it will be BJ as the intermediate. We'll see how
BJ
that works out.
actually schedules a lunch, and he shows up, and there's Gregg. He's like, "You motherfucker!"
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. But he wants the first meeting to be face to face, because I don't think that a phone conversation, that's not something you clear up on a phone conversation or a Zoom call.
No, not at all.
Right. I think it's going to be a one-on-one. Hey, listen, that shit sucked. I'm really sorry. You know, I was part of the problem. I caused part of the problem.
Yeah.
I'm sorry what I did. If I could say sorry to your parents, I would say sorry to them. Or fuck them for what they said.
That's going a little far. I don't think he's going to go that far. So Diego does specify that he got Gio got a new number during the summer. So as far as reaching out, I'm sure USSF has it regardless. I'm sure I can easily obtain it. But ultimately, what he's got to do is sit him down and say, hey, again, take ownership of the fact that he should never have brought that story up. Even if he didn't name names, it was fucking clear as day who he was talking about. And there shouldn't have been the excuse of, well, I didn't know it was going to be publicized.
Yeah, but
then it was off the record. You know, that he should be like, I fucked up. That's my bad. Maybe me and your parents will never be as close as we are, but I would like to make sure that we can work together as, a team here.
But the rain is fucked up too.
No, 100%. I'm just saying he should specify that this meeting isn't necessarily
that wasn't as a
connections.
That wasn't as a retort to what you said.
Okay.
I was saying that's part of the conversation that's going to have to be avoided. Because Gregg can in any way say, listen, I know I fucked up, but your parents fucked up just as bad by what they did.
He should leave that whole mess out and just simply leave it off at saying, like,
right.
We may never see eye to eye ever again, but I would like this to work out.
I think you should go as far as saying, listen, I will always love your parents, and I know what happened was awful, and I don't know if we're ever going to be able to repair things.
Sure.
And even if we can't repair things personally, can we repair things professionally so we can work together? We don't have to be best friends anymore, but can we work together professionally? And I think that's where you got to take this conversation. I don't think until Gio's parents are comfortable with Gregg and Gregg's comfortable with them, that it could be anything more than a professional relationship. And that's where he's got to go with this. And I think that's where he's going to go with it.
Just like the debate with Gio and Pulisic, as far as whether or not they can coexist, because there's that whole rumor as far as them not necessarily seeing eye to eye, and how Pulisic wasn't overly happy with his attitude at the World Cup, etc. And he hadn't quite forgiven him at that point. And I'm like, we don't need you guys to be best friends. We just need you guys to play on the field together. That's all.
Their teammates, they got over pretty fast.
Yeah, no, they got over. Yeah.
By the way, I'm told BJ has the new number. So if BJ has it, Gregg will have it.
Artie Rap 13 for $5 didn't say a thing. So I'm gonna pull up their next point here. And
to be honest, it's been however long it's been, and I'm still in shock. I just can't come to terms with it. I don't think I have it in me to go through another round of Gregg. Well, the only hope we have, Artie Rap,
paid attention for these last 6 months,
is that he's been paying attention, and that he's watched Hudson, and he's watched
double pivot woodwork.
He's watched the Nations League, and he's seen something different and he just changed his concepts about where Reyna can be the most effective on this team, and that's in the midfield. So, Jacob Ramirez from 199. How the fuck do you make them talk before hiring Gregg? Do you not make them talk? Well, listen, that's U.S. soccer, right?
Yeah.
That's just bad cooking. And when you hire, that's bad baking. When you hire a guy like Crocker, you expect they have some sort of plan. Maybe they do. We just don't know about it.
It's bad baking by Betty.
I'll be honest with you, Betty is doing a lot of cooking, like in the shadow world, in a vacuum. We really don't really understand. We've heard a lot of fancy verbiage about why Gregg was hired. We've heard about mental tests and, intelligence tests and all kinds of horse shit done by the company that they hired to do the job search, which is really just a bunch of jackasses. Honestly, that's what they are. So yeah, hard to say. But we do know USSF has not changed at all. This is the same USSF and the same jackassery and clown show we've always seen. And anybody from who's close to it, like Herc, or far away from it, like Gregg Berhalter, will tell you the exact same thing. Clown show.
Yeah, I guess my take on it would be that leading up to even the announcement of a coach, regardless of whether it was going to be Gregg or whatever, USSF and preferably Betty Crocker should have sat down with Gio at some point and said, hey, there is a possibility that Gregg comes back. I understand that there's this rift between everybody on your side and their side, but it's going to have to mend enough to at least be a professional relationship. Would you be able to do it? Gio guaranteed probably would have said, yeah, sure, why not? Whatever. I'll go on the pitch. I'll play my game,
Well, Betty did say that he did consult with the players, but no one specifically asked Betty whether or not he talked to Reyna specifically. And so, we don't know if he has or not. So we don't know if he baked up that cake with just a few consultants from the players or he had the whole team that he called.
Plus, it can weigh, apparently. That's about all you need to get.
Yeah. Exactly.
Again, Jacob, thanks for the $1.99.
Yeah, we appreciate it. Seth Floyd for $5 for $4.99. The BJ man will make sure there will be a happy ending. Oh, splatter.
Hey,
okay. Yep. Got you there, Seth. That was pretty. It was a real ejaculatory comment.
We haven't had a good BJ comment in a couple weeks here, man. It's like we
it's
blew
too
our
easy.
Load,
That's
blew
why.
our load too early, and in the first announcement of him.
Jesus it's too easy. That's why we haven't done a lot of it.
Yeah, but you know what? It's always good to go back to the classics. Quite frankly.
Yeah, it is a classic, but we kind of make up our own metaphors.
So we've talked about the broken
Pepi.
relationship with Gio. Let's talk about Pepi. We got a couple others that we've mentioned. Obviously we've mentioned over time.
We're going to zoom through most of these because they're pretty easy. Pepi's already come out and said, "Listen, hey, fuck it, whatever. I'm willing to work with whoever the manager is. The manager's Gregg. I'm fine with it." Is he happy with that? No, I mean that's got to be a scar on his soul, honestly. Yeah. So Diego's telling us Gio wasn't told about the Gregg hire. That's bullshit. If he wasn't one of the people that was called, that's pretty. I feel like that should be like the
first person you talk to. Say, hey, we're planning on bringing Gregg back. We need this to be okay.
Yeah, no shit. I'm one of the best players on your team. Wouldn't have Betty given me a fucking Betty call and said, hey, by the way, I know this is going to be tough and it's going to be rough. And you guys have some fucking things you need to work out, but we're bringing Gregg back and listen. Or he should have got one of the original calls. Listen, here are the few guys we're talking to now. What do you think about this guy? What do you think about Gregg? What do you think about? Well, we know what he thinks about Gregg. Get his opinion. But damn, doesn't sound like he got fucking any reach around at all. Yeah. None. Zero.
What's fascinating, obviously, when we're talking about the 2026 World Cup, we're sitting there going like, "Oh, we need to get a quality coach in here." because this is our time to
Yeah, that's
shine.
all bullshit.
We've got this crop of players, and you're starting to sit there and go like, is Gregg that much better than say Hudson or that much better than BJ at that point? Quite frankly, I mean BJ freaking curb stomped Nations League, like 5-0. I mean, it wasn't even funny.
And played
Cup.
differently.
Yeah, he came to Gold Cup with a completely C-list squad, and there are some players I think should have been included over than other players, but whatever, we are there. He didn't get the Gold Cup, which Gregg did. But are we really talking about that high of a
but he didn't
talent
get the
gap that we're concerned that our players couldn't play under BJ that they would play under Gregg?
Yeah, I saw a better team than I've ever seen under Hudson and BJ than I've ever seen under Gregg. That's just me.
Yeah.
And others. Tuberculosis for $2 says GGG is from Cobra Kai clan. Be careful how you speak.
No mercy.
Yeah.
Mercy's for the weak.
Yeah, if he wants to track me down, I can put up at least a pretty good fight.
Dude, he's gonna put you in a body bag.
No, he's gonna kick me in the nuts. It's gonna be the first thing he does. All right.
I feel like he's gonna kick you in the leg, if anything.
Well, I'm gonna throat punch him before
At least
he
he's
gets
got an
there.
MO for that, you know.
Kick me in the leg.
Thanks for the $2, tuberculosis.
Len for $15. Tuberculosis. I like that. That's sorry. TB is just that's an American thing. Gooch has to escape from USSF before they take his soul. Yeah, he's kind of resigned right now to his soul being borrowed. But yeah, he'll either he's in it. Okay, so you can change things within. So there could be his plan is to, pat and do what they tell him to do for as long as, and then once he's really in power, once he becomes the new Betty Crocker, which is his goal, then he can open up and be real, right? But until then, he's got to play the game. But he's not the only one.
For the fourth cycle, right?
He's not the only one selling his soul, Brett. Jermaine Jones selling his soul hard. You know how much he hates the fact that he has to shut the
He's gobbling that proverbial cock, right? Oh.
Yeah, I mean, seriously. The poor guy's doing a rusty trombone right now for U.S. soccer. So, and he hates it too. He hates it. All right. Thank you, Len, for the $15. For that. I don't know how close you are, but Brett could meet you in a private park for $15.
I got a car that has good gas mileage. It's possible.
Somebody texted me the other day and said, "You guys can't keep saying that about Brett because they're going to think you're doing active prostitution on the show." I'm like, dude, no, they're not. Shit.
Like Derek's warning from USSF on his door too,
Oh yeah. And then people are like, "You can't joke about that. They're going to really come after you."
Watch us.
Well, so far, no. And no, Brett's not really a male prostitute, and we are not prostituting him out for dollars.
I don't prostitute. I do it for fun, guys.
He does it for fun. All right, KG Sports Club. So if BJ and Hudson work together to make the Gold Cup roster, what do we make of the Hudson selections? I will say this: Hudson wanted to play the A team for both tournaments.
Yeah.
That's why one of the reasons he got ran out of town. I'm talking like
that's basically what Diego just said right there too. The Gold Cup wasn't Hudson's roster.
No, it was not.
No. I will say though, again, looking at that 60-man preliminary roster, there were definitely players that should not have been on there, and there were players that were missing from there.
Yes, we've gone over that already.
Yeah, exactly. I won't go into more depth, but Hudson came out from the very get-go and said, "I want the same squad at Nations League and Gold Cup to develop chemistry and moving forward in our system."
And
that's
then
what he wanted. And then he was going to Saudi Arabia.
And then he was informed, "You've overstepped your bounds. You shouldn't have said that." The 18 players have already let us know they don't want to play in the Gold Cup. They need some rest. And so you spoke out of turn. That cost, I've heard it cost a little rumblings within U.S. soccer, but
again, though, this is what I would say they should have done is they should have planned for that and had some of the bench players from Nations League who never saw a minute or barely saw minutes be the starters for Gold Cup, and then you brought scrubs over to fill the bench for Nations League.
Scrubs.
So that's what you do. I mean, again, you brought Austin Trusty in for Nations League. Wouldn't it have been better for him to play like 5-6 matches for the Gold Cup instead?
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. But he needed a break. Cunt fucker for $5. How do you guys feel about QSM men's national team qualifying?
The QAnon men's national team for Twitter? Is that what you're referring to?
QS men's national team. Nickname. It's often used to smear anyone who criticizes Berhalter. God, those fuckers.
It's also pretty popular on Twitter, except for they just call it Q19 Anon or whatever.
Listen, those guys who are the big Berhalter defenders, not all of them are absolutely irrational, but some of them are so irrational.
It's fascinating that they can type between the jerks, you know?
They have Helsinki syndrome. They're to the point where they show up to the kidnapping and say, I am ready to suck as much fucking Berhalter cock as possible today. I love you. I know you were kidnapped me, but now I find you extremely attractive and I want to be your best friend. And if that means sucking your cock 24 hours 7, I will do it. And that's where we're at.
And he won a Nations League and he got us qualified and we got out of the group stage, Derek.
You know what's pathetic about that is people making it political. Like it's political. Okay, I guess if you're not for Berhalter, you're not for the establishment. So I guess you're suddenly QAnon, I guess. I don't even know what I just learned all these things. I don't know anything about QAnon. Zero. All I know is what I've been told. That's it. When it ain't much. What the fuck is Helsinki?
Thanks for the $5, CF, by the way. Appreciate that.
The Helsinki syndrome is, and this came from many kidnapping incidents when people were kidnapped and then became kind of closer attached.
So everybody called you out, Derek. You're wrong. It is Stockholm
syndrome. God damn it! I picked the wrong.
That's the only reason why I brought that up is because everybody was calling you out on that.
I picked the wrong fucking Scandinavian city. Helsinki. Oh my God! Sorry.
BMR was like, "What the fuck is Helsinki syndrome?" All right, guys, that's canon. From now on, just start calling people who are big Gregg Berhalter fans Helsinki syndrome.
I just made up a syndrome.
It's also.
Sorry, guys.
Oh man.
Sometimes I just fuck up on here. My brain turns to mush.
You said it with such confidence. I was going to let it ride, and then people started questioning you. I'm like, okay, no, wait. It was. Maybe he wasn't meaning this.
Oh, fuck. I knew it was Stockholm. I'm serious. I did. I just made up a new city.
Mike B says, no other soccer show gives you this, and I love it.
Oh, shit. Oh.
Pyongyang syndrome?
That's not in Scandinavia.
Hamburger syndrome?
At least I was in the vicinity.
I'm not even going to pronounce that one.
Oh, Reykjavik. All right.
Oh, that's not that bad.
It's capital of Iceland. All right. Anyhow, Oslo. That's at least in Scandinavia as well. All right.
Yeah.
Sorry, Finland.
Sorry. You Canadian
I fucked that up. Oh my goodness. Well, we are 2 hours and 25 minutes in my brain.
Hold on. We got to really run through the other players because we barely touched.
All right, Steffen. I mean, he didn't have a great relationship when Gregg cut him from the team, but in the end, really, Steffen, he's got a lot of work to do to get back on this team. Let's be really honest.
You just can't get over the whole Helsinki thing right now, can you?
Helsinki syndrome.
Oh man!
Oh, Jesus.
We got Amsterdam syndrome. We got Copenhagen syndrome. So I got into a conversation with Larry about Turner because we're bringing up Steffen here. And about
I think
Turner.
Turner's fine,
but I mean, I guess his argument is, well, if let's say Horvath is now with Forest, because he's off his loan. Or no, whether he sticks with his loan team who got promoted or he goes back to Forest, he could, in theory, be a starter in EPL. Turner won't be a starter in EPL. Do we make the move? I guess my argument is we take it by a window basis.
You watched Horvath play? I mean, come on.
Well, that's the thing.
This is ridiculous. He played a whole season in the EPL. He had to save 3 shots the whole season? All right, that's an exaggeration.
EFL.
What did I say?
I think it's said EPL. Sorry, you may have said EPL. But yeah.
I'm losing it. We need to end the show.
But my argument was what goalkeeper do we replace Turner with who doesn't make errors? Is it Steffen? Because he's guaranteed at least 1 or 2 a game.
No.
Is it Horvath? What was the friendly that Horvath got scored on the end line from across?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I mean, it happens. I mean, Turner's blunder against Panama, it happens. That's an error. Yes, that was a stupid.
That was minor compared to the fucking error Steffen made last season in the championship. Seriously, minor compared to the mistake Steffen made. Yeah. So listen, we just don't have Steffen can't bitch and complain. I mean, maybe for the World Cup he could have, but seriously, he wasn't having a great season. Horvath, listen, he just played a whole season for Luton, and they were like, nah, we don't want you back. Fuck off. I mean, seriously, we're going to the fucking Premier League. We want you? No. So, yeah, I don't think the Steffen thing's a big deal.
Maybe they don't want to pay for it, but yeah.
Miazga's out anyhow.
He's already specified. We didn't see eye to eye.
Yeah. Brooks, come on. Serious?
I want the Miazga and I want the Brooks tell-all. That's what I want.
He's gone.
Yeah.
Fucking Berhalter does not or see any value in John Brooks. Zero value in John Brooks.
We'd be insanely astonished if he ever gets called back up.
Yeah, it would be a miracle. Fucking fairies would have to shoot out of Gregg's ass for that to happen. Mike B for $5. Thank you, brother. Gregg booed during the Messi ceremony. Toxic. It ain't toxic. Yeah, no, people didn't want you back, and now you're back. What did you expect?
I still want to see the clip. I know people have been talking about it on Twitter a lot.
It's amazing to me. It's amazing to me that guys like Gregg and those other fucking fiddle farts out there who are ass lickers of Gregg Berhalter, they just don't understand.
US and MLS guys.
They have no fucking clue why people don't like Gregg and why he's not liked generally by even casual fans. Oh, it's because of us. The toxic fans have made the casual fans toxic. No, not at all. They just watched some games and said, that's not good.
But that begs the question: if people are going to blame the toxic fans for converting the casual fans, then maybe that's bringing us full circle back to the Fox broadcast coverage, as far as just placating the casual fans and trying to make them think that this is more or less could be an A squad.
Yeah.
That don't. I guess what I'm trying to say is basically don't treat the casual fans like they're fucking morons.
Yeah.
Go out there, say what you want to say, and move on. Here's
the general rule in life. Don't fucking bullshit people. If you bullshit people have bullshit detectors. And they will figure out you're full of shit. And they will no longer trust anything that comes out of your mouth for the going forward. So that's what we're at here. That's where we're at. If you're full of shit, people lose trust in you. Once they've lost trust in you because they know you're not talking for yourself. They know you're not being real. They know you're saying shady fucking farcical things. You're done with them. They're done with you. So this is built in. U.S. Soccer is building cynics by the fucking hour. Fox Sports Soccer building fucking cynics by the hour. All these morons on Reddit building cynics by the hour because they just look at that crowd and go, that whole crowd is fucking moronic. Those people can't be real. Or are they just dumb? Oh, they're dumb. Okay, they're dumb. They're just Gregg fucking apologists.
Same 20 people on Twitter that happened to be at that venue booing him.
I guess just all these people suddenly booing Berhalter because I guess the fucking Berhalter cocksuckers on Twitter or Reddit aren't doing a good enough job selling their message to the rest of the fucking fans, U.S. fans. That's not my fault. Do a better job then, you cocksuckers. All right. Gibberino says for $5, thank you, my brother. We much thanks. Turner makes mistakes at Arsenal. He has. Steffen and Horvath were average in the EFL Championship. Yeah, I think for Horvath, he played so many games where he had like one shot to stop. We are stuck with a mid group of goalkeepers this cycle. I do think Turner is a step ahead of both Steffen and Horvath.
I agree with that too. Plus, he's phenomenal at the PKs.
Yes, he's good at shot stopping.
Outside of Armando, I don't think I've had a single goalkeeper that I've ever felt confident going into a PK shootout.
Yeah. I mean, there's a reason Arsenal want to hold on to him going through the season, because if they do lose their number one at Arsenal, Matt's a pretty competent guy. Is he going to make errors? He's probably going to make a few here and there, but he's getting a lot better with his feet. He's always been a good shot stopper, so that's not really a problem. And mostly his decision making is good. He, like anybody, makes an error occasionally.
Well, now's the thing, because people, when I was talking about Turner, they brought up the error against Panama. Did you see the goal against Panama? I'm like, yes, I did. But if we're going to start focusing on individual errors, should we bench Pulisic because he made the error of not scoring that sitter against Netherlands in the World Cup group stage or knockout stage? Because that could have changed the tone of the entire match.
And if you want to get more specific about goalkeepers, if we're talking about errors, fucking Steffen had one every 2 games.
Yeah.
Like a big one. Every 2 or 3 games, he had a fucking major error. Like, that's not Matt Turner. That's not going to happen with Matt Turner. Steffen is having a confidence issue right now. Horvath just didn't have to show a lot. His defense was fabulous all fucking season. And he had so many games where he took 1 or 2 shots the whole game. So there you go. I think that's everybody. Yeah, that's everybody. We covered them all.
Covered a lot, yeah.
Yeah. All right, so that's it for tonight. I want to thank everybody who showed up and everybody who did a super chat. Make sure before you leave that you like and subscribe. I mean, if you're here through the whole show, you might as well fucking subscribe, right? If you're not subscribed yet, well, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, listen, we took the first 30 minutes of the show and we turned lemons into lemonade because we don't have much to talk about tonight. And then we figured out we had so much to talk about. We're here for 2 hours and 30 minutes. How did we do that? I don't know. Brett and I were talking about the show. We're like, yeah, there's not much to talk about tonight. And here we are 2 minutes and fucking 30 minutes later. I cannot believe
we were going to hit 3 hours there. This would have been the first show for 3 hours. This might be one of our longest shows right now.
I was thinking, honestly, before the show started, Brett and I were going to do an hour and 30 minutes because there was so little content.
I mean, I assumed that we were going to be about two hours guaranteed. You and I tend to ramble,
oh yeah,
I guess.
You're the cynic when it comes, and I'm the optimist when it comes to the show.
How did that work out?
We flip-flop on that for some reason. But I wanted to thank everybody on this show who was here to watch. We love you too, more than your own mother. Okay, well, hey, to each their own. Speaking of family, make sure you honestly, seriously take your stepsister out on a couple dinner dates and movies before you stoop her. Get to know her a little. Get to know her, what she's like. Just don't do it because it's like this porn thing, right? Really get to know your stepsister before you make that big leap and that big decision. She's not your real sister. Remember, it's not breaking the law. Until the next time on the Straight Right Car, we'll see you soon.
But she's a trap. She's an unsung novel. Turn a lap and get your whole world dazzled on the line, or a phone call with or without wine.
That hurt.
I'm tuned in like crazy, and I'm pretending like I know what they're doing, and I'm,
articulate and intelligent.
Gregg's a bitch. That's all.
I find them